and also having our high school students teach them those activities, and so it gives them a little inspiration to what they can expect as they go through school and what science will be like throughout the years.
Hold the coin.
When my kids were in elementary school, I saw that there was a need because not necessarily every elementary school teacher is very proficient in science. So I thought this would be a way that we could kind of help the elementary school teachers implement science and show them things that maybe they could bring into their classroom that were easy ways to show science.
Look at me, I'm a scientist.
Our class feeds into University High School, so we're a mini academy, our mixed media class. So that class, the students are out of reading. They don't take the reading elective, and they take this class instead. So we bring in all the different standards for reading also into the mixed media class.
Ms. McLeod's class introduces us to a variety of different technologies, and that helps us expand our minds to different technologies, how to grow as individuals, because she's opening our minds and we're thinking outside the box. You know, instead of just using Microsoft Office Word, we're introduced to so many things like emaze and sway, and it's an amazing experience, really.
It's great for them to have the basics, because when they get over to the University High School, then they can move on into knowing everything that they need to know for the first year, and then maybe possibly moving on into a second year program right away.
It's using, all the components are Arduino based. There is a water level sensor, a water temperature sensor, and also
well, many of our students involved in what's called a maker fair. Maker fair is many things. It's part science fair, it's part inventor, it's part art show, really anything under the sun. The students find things that they are passionate about and they make.
Can't imagine doing anything else. I love coming to Delta Clubs at school. I definitely bleed blue and silver, and I love teaching.
sensor, a water temperature sensor, and also a
Well, many of our students involved in what's called a maker fair. Maker fair is many things. It's part science fair, it's part inventor, it's part art show, really anything under the sun. The students find things that they are passionate about and they make. So that's what they're here celebrating today. It's called the greatest show and tell on earth. Really, it's all the things that they don't get to do in a traditional classroom. It is STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics to the max. It's really a way that the kids can have an opportunity to do something they want to do, and it hits many of the different aspects that are supposed to be covered in curriculum.
A downhill go-kart?
Yes, you use your feet to pivot.
Where's your brakes?
No brakes.
The majority of our students here today are from the Academy of Information Technology and Robotics, but we did invite all of Spruce Creek High School to participate. This year is really the first year that we're doing it, so we're getting the word out about what Maker Faire is. And we're hoping to get everybody excited about coming and being more a part of it next year.
Hi, I'm Melanie Jenkins. I teach at Deltona High. I have marine science and honors biology. It's important for students to take a leadership role because it increases their social skills. It allows them to share their ideas and feel worth of their ideas. If they can share information and teach other students, they really truly know the material, and many times they can express that sometimes in a better way than we can, or give additional information that can help their peers. Can't imagine doing anything else. I love coming to Deltona High School every day. I love my students. I sponsor 3 different clubs at school. I definitely bleed blue and silver, and I love teaching.
wanted to have something for kids that would be after school, especially for kids from low-income homes that didn't necessarily have the opportunity to have enriching clubs because their parents couldn't possibly afford it after school. And so that's how the Da Vinci Club got started. I wanted to integrate reading with the arts and have the kids be able to make projects based on books that they were reading that enabled them to be creative and get them desiring to read. Once you get it to be the robot, could you then create a costume to make it be the two different?
And it was a challenge to get her to read, even to get her to read things about things that she liked, and her favorite thing is horses. So Miss Dietrich's was like, bring her into Da Vinci, I think she'll really like it. And I was quite surprised. Every Thursday, Friday, she looked forward to the Da Vinci Club. She looked forward to reading.
Stetson has written a grant to have Da Vinci Club go statewide. Every district possibly would have a Da Vinci Club. And so it's going through the legislature, and our Volusia County Da Vinci Club would become a statewide club.
It's not about the level of the student, it's about engaging them into reading, and by letting them do the crafts and the projects they want to learn, they want to come to school.
I think that these kids will go on to be lifelong readers. If they're having this much fun and able to experience another side of reading, that they're going to carry that on into middle and high school and hopefully even college. They know that they have those leisure reading books that they can go to, not just textbooks later on. So it's just establishing that lifelong reading.
Go ahead and get started on that.
Hi, I'm Rachel Hazel. I'm the Executive Director of K-12 Curriculum. I work with curriculum specialists and with all of our departments that are focused specifically on student achievement and curriculum to make sure that we are implementing the best possible instruction and curriculum for our students. Our district has always been on the forefront of change and always been a leader in moving students forward. This is a very exciting time to be a part of district leadership in our schools. Volusia County is making an impact not just here, but as a model district for other districts, and I'm excited to be a part of that.
I would likely focus on three things. One is the importance of not only going to college but graduating. And I use college in the broadest sense possible, thinking about the importance of acquiring skills, certificates, credentials, and degrees in order to be happy and self-sufficient and able to have or create a job with the family-sustaining wage and opportunities for advancement. The second is to be incredibly selfish in identifying and pursuing passion. Students who are most often neglected and ignored need to be supported in identifying and pursuing their passion. And the last thing is for them to take care of themselves, right? It's incredibly difficult for young people to exist. So I'll spend a little bit of time as well talking about and encouraging them to practice some self-care and to take care of themselves while being students and demonstrating the resilience and grit required in order to, again, not only show up, but to show out.
And one of the things he talked about this morning, and I think is so true, is this notion of we've got to love and support our students. I hope teachers hear that message and support staff hear that message, of course, which I know they already do, and I hope students hear a message. You've got to be successful, and we've got to strive for higher heights and love each other.
We have invited the elementary school students from Horizon Elementary to experience some STEAM activities, which are science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So the purpose is to expose kindergarten students who have a natural wonder for science to the things that are maybe not necessarily part of their curriculum or things that maybe elementary school teachers may not be able to bring into their curriculum in their classroom, and then also having our high school students teach them those activities, and so it gives them a little inspiration to what they can expect as they go through school and what science will be like throughout the years. When my kids were in elementary school, I saw that there was a need because not necessarily every elementary school teacher is very proficient in science. So I thought this would be a way that we could kind of help the elementary school teachers implement science and show them things that maybe they could bring into their classroom that were easy ways to show science.
Look at me. I'm a scientist.
Our class feeds into University High School, so we're a mini academy, our mixed media class. So that class, the students are out of reading. They don't take the reading elective, and they take this class instead. So we bring in all the different standards for reading also into the mixed media class.
Ms. McLeod's class introduces us to a variety of different technologies, and that helps us expand our minds to different technologies, how to grow as individuals, because she's opening our minds and we're thinking outside the box. You know, instead of just using Microsoft Office Word, we're introduced to so many things like e-maze and Sway, and it's an amazing experience, really.
It's great for them to have the basics, because when they get over to the university high school, then they can move on into knowing everything that they need to know for the first year, and then maybe possibly moving on into a second year program right away.
It's using, all the components are Arduino based. There is a water level sensor, a water temperature sensor, and also a
well, many of our students involved in what's called a maker fair. Maker fair is many things. It's part science fair, it's part inventor, it's part art show, really anything under the sun. The students find things that they are passionate about and they make. So that's what they're here celebrating today. It's called the greatest show and tell on earth. Really, it's all the things that they don't get to do in a traditional classroom. It is STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics to the max. It's really a way that the kids can have an opportunity to do something they want to do, and it hits many of the different aspects that are supposed to be covered in curriculum.
A downhill go-kart?
Yes, you use your feet to pivot.
Where's your brakes?
No brakes.
The majority of our students here today are from the Academy of Information Technology and Robotics, but we did invite all of Spruce Creek High School to participate. This year is really the first year that we're doing it, so we're getting the word out about what Maker Fair is. And we're hoping to get everybody excited about coming and being more a part of it next year.
Hi, I'm Melanie Jenkins. I teach at Deltona High. I have marine science and honors biology. It's important for students to take a leadership role because it increases their social skills. It allows them to share their ideas and feel worth of their ideas. If they can share information and teach other students, they really truly know the material, and many times they can express that sometimes in a better way than we can, or give additional information that can help their peers. Can't imagine doing anything else. I love coming to Deltona High School every day. I love my students. I sponsor 3 different clubs at school. I definitely bleed blue and silver, and I love teaching.
I wanted to have something for kids that would be after school, especially for kids from low-income homes that didn't necessarily have the opportunity to have enriching clubs because their parents couldn't possibly afford it after school. And so that's how the Da Vinci Club got started. I wanted to integrate reading with the arts and have the kids be able to make projects based on books that they were reading that enabled them to be creative and get them desiring to read. Once you get it to be the robot, could you then create a costume to make it be the two different?
And it was a challenge to get her to read, even to get her to read things about things that she liked, and her favorite thing is horses. So Miss Dietrich's was like, bring her into Da Vinci, I think she'll really like it. And I was quite surprised. Every Thursday, Friday, she looked forward to the Da Vinci Club. She looked forward to reading.
Stetson has written a grant to have Da Vinci Club go statewide. Every district possibly would have a Da Vinci Club. And so it's going through the legislature, and our Volusia County Da Vinci Club would become a statewide club.
It's not about the level of the student, it's about engaging them into reading, and by letting them do the crafts and the projects they want to learn, they want to come to school.
I think that these kids will go on to be lifelong readers. If they're having this much fun and able to experience another side of reading, that they're going to carry that on into middle and high school and hopefully even college. They know that they have those leisure reading books that they can go to, not just textbooks later on. So it's just establishing that lifelong reading.
Go ahead and get started on that.
Hi, I'm Rachel Hazel. I'm the Executive Director of K-12 Curriculum. I work with curriculum specialists and with all of our departments that are focused specifically on student achievement and curriculum to make sure that we are implementing the best possible instruction and curriculum for our students. Our district has always been on the forefront of change and always been a leader in moving students forward. This is a very exciting time to be a part of district leadership in our schools. Volusia County is making an impact not just here, but as a model district for other districts, and I'm excited to be a part of that.
I would likely focus on three things. One is the importance of not only going to college but graduating. And I use college in the broadest sense possible, thinking about the importance of acquiring skills, certificates, credentials, and degrees in order to be happy and self-sufficient and able to have or create a job with the family-sustaining wage and opportunities for advancement. The second is to be incredibly selfish in identifying and pursuing passion. Students who are most often neglected and ignored need to be supported in identifying and pursuing their passion. And the last thing is for them to take care of themselves, right? It's incredibly difficult for young people to exist. So I'll spend a little bit of time as well talking about and encouraging them to practice some self-care and to take care of themselves while being students and demonstrating the resilience and grit required in order to, again, not only show up, but to show out.
And one of the things he talked about this morning, and I think is so true, is this notion of we've got to love and support our students. I hope teachers hear that message and support staff hear that message, of course, which I know they already do, and I hope students hear a message. You've got to be successful, and we've got to strive for higher heights and love each other.
We have invited the elementary school students from Horizon Elementary to experience some STEAM activities, which are science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So the purpose is to expose kindergarten students who have a natural wonder for science to the things that are maybe not necessarily part of their curriculum or things that maybe elementary school teachers may not be able to bring into their curriculum in their classroom, and then also having our high school students teach them those activities, and so it gives them a little inspiration to what they can expect as they go through school and what science will be like throughout the years.
Hold the coin.
When my kids were in elementary school, I saw that there was a need because not necessarily every elementary school teacher is very proficient in science. So I thought this would be a way that we could kind of help the elementary school teachers implement science and show them things that maybe they could bring into their classroom that were easy ways to show science.
Look at me. I'm a scientist.
Our class feeds into University High School, so we're a mini academy, our mixed media class. So that class, the students are out of reading. They don't take the reading elective, and they take this class instead. So we bring in all the different standards for reading also into the mixed media class.
Ms. McLeod's class introduces us to a variety of different technologies, and that helps us expand our minds to different technologies, how to grow as individuals, because she's opening our minds and we're thinking outside the box. You know, instead of just using Microsoft Office Word, we're introduced to so many things like e-maze and sway, and it's an amazing experience, really.
It's great for them to have the basics, because when they get over to the university high school, then they can move on into knowing everything that they need to know for the first year, and then maybe possibly moving on into a second year program right away.
It's using, all the components are Arduino based. There is a water level sensor, a water temperature sensor, and also a
Well, many of our students involved in what's called a maker fair. Maker fair is many things. It's part science fair, it's part inventor, it's part art show, really anything under the sun. The students find things that they are passionate about and they make. So that's what they're here celebrating today. It's called the greatest show and tell on earth. Really, it's all the things that they don't get to do in a traditional classroom. It is STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics to the max. It's really a way that the kids can have an opportunity to do something they want to do, and it hits many of the different aspects that are supposed to be covered in curriculum.
A downhill go-kart?
Yes, you use your feet to pivot.
Where's your brakes?
No brakes.
The majority of our students here today are from the Academy of Information Technology and Robotics, but we did invite all of Spruce Creek High School to participate. This year is really the first year that we're doing it, so we're getting the word out about what Maker Fair is, and we're hoping to get everybody excited about coming and being more a part of it next year.
Hi, I'm Melanie Jenkins. I teach at Deltona High. I have marine science and honors biology. It's important for students to take a leadership role because it increases their social skills. It allows them to share their ideas and feel worth of their ideas. If they can share information and teach other students, they really truly know the material, and many times they can express that sometimes in a better way than we can, or give additional information that can help their peers. I can't imagine doing anything else. I love coming to Deltona High School every day. I love my students. I sponsor 3 different clubs at school. I definitely bleed blue and silver, and I love teaching.
All right. And
Effective July 1st.
during my announcements today, we are going to sign people up for board members up for these various positions.
Okay. We've talked about that.
So.
Okay. So I'd like to call this board meeting to order for May 9th, 2017. It's actually a workshop. Mr. Russell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, I will call forth Deb Muller and Teresa Marks. During today's budget workshop, we will review our instructional priorities. We will also review what finance is working on as they are working in terms of the FEFP expenditures and also the closing of the school year 16-17 budget cycle. So at this time, I will turn it over to Teresa Marks.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, school board members, Mr. Russell. It is our pleasure to highlight some of the things that are going on and really focus on what our areas of focus are going to be in the coming school year. And I want to start first by bringing us back to our district vision statement and our strategic plan, because everything we do, we are working through that strategic plan and our vision statement of ensuring that all students receive a superior 21st century education. The other thing, a part of what I hope you see throughout my portion of this is support for schools, because that is really our big area of focus. So in the superintendent's 3 areas of focus that we had this year, creating a culture for learning, social emotional learning, making the instructional shifts and to the state standards, and then personalized learning for students and adults. These are all 3 big areas of focus that we've had this year and that we continue to work on and expand as we move forward. More specifically, what you're going to see in this graphic, and I really like this graphic because a part of what I want you to make sure you see is in the center, everything is going to go back to the standards. Our primary focus is equity through the standards across our district in the coming year, helping our teachers understand the standards that they have for their classroom instruction, understand better what it looks like, and then help support them as well as the school-based administrators who are there to support them as they learn and grow in all of that. So everything focused back in. That's our primary focus for what we're doing. The other boxes that you see, these are all initiatives that we have been working on throughout this school year. And we are really just going to deepen and broaden what people's understanding and their experience within each of these areas. We have found, just like what our standards used to be when we taught that they were a mile wide and an inch deep, we're taking a lesson from that and trying to bring it back in and trying to simplify things and just put things on that we really see as making the big impact. So those are those areas. Our focus has not changed, but is constantly growing as we develop and broaden our support of students. In that sense, this is an ongoing process that will continue to grow. So then more specifically, as we look at the different levels, these are some of the areas within each grade level that will primarily be a focus. You can see they're a little bit different, but we have those overarching ones, and you can see how these fit into those overarching goals. We will continue that graduation assurance focus at the high school level, as we will continue middle school redesign, and then looking at elementary as we continue to refine our support of the ELA and math cadres and modules in helping provide that curriculum resource materials for our teachers. So as this presentation, I'm not going to dwell very long on this because Ms. Muller has got an awful lot to share that is a lot more detailed than I have for you. But part of what I wanted to take the time to mention to you at this point as well is that as this presentation continues with Ms. Muller, you're going to see how closely finance and instructional services have worked together to ensure that these instructional priorities are reflected in our budget. We are working together in a new way that you will be seeing in the coming months as we start to talk about smarter school spending and our work together to make sure that we have put in place the funding for all of those priorities and making sure that they truly are the priority so that we can provide the level of support that's needed. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Muller.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Chairwoman Johnson, members of the board, and Mr. Russell. The FEFP, as I know that you are well aware, was really just passed, and we've been diving into the details, but a lot of them are still unknowns to us at this point. We finally received a conference budget sometime mid-afternoon on Saturday. So what we would like to present to you today is to break that down a little bit. Know that we are still looking at the legislation and how that will affect the budget, as are many of our support organizations that analyze these things as well, and that we are still working on the budget and is very tentative at this time. The FEFP, I know that we talked before about the FTE projections that we do, and our unweighted FTE compared to our fourth calculation from this year, 2016-17, will increase 400.90 FTE with a weighted FTE increase of 563.96. Now, what we really were watching closely, and we talked about this as well, was what was going to happen with the base student allocation. The Senate basically accepted the House's version of the budget, and as a result, the base student allocation next year will decrease $27.07 per FTE. That is obviously very troubling to us, as well as, again, we've lost money due to the DCD. That decreased as well. The school taxable values, you can see that this is just our taxable value in Volusia County is increasing almost $2.5 billion for next year, which would generate additional tax revenue for the district. One of the factors that we were also disheartened about was that the required local effort was proposed to decrease under the House, the initial House proposal, and the Senate also accepted that. And basically the House wished to not increase the tax revenue based on growth of those taxable values, and so in that respect give a tax break to property owners. What that results in for us is a decrease in revenue. The discretionary millage, which we kept which is at the maximum level that's approved by you as the board, remains constant at 0.748. But overall, we have that decrease in total millage for next year. On this slide, you can see when we use the weighted FTE and that decreased base student allocation and our decreased DCD percentage applied to the base funding formulas, we actually lose more than $1.5 million in base funding. And again, the troubling point to that is that that is our most flexible funding, and it also puts money into the classrooms and with teachers. These other categories, you can see there are some increases and some decreases against the fourth calculation for this year. We are still analyzing because the formulas may have changed as well. There are also explanations for these different categories at the end of the presentation for your reference, but we won't go into all of these at this time since we're not sure exactly with the funding change and why it has changed. One thing I did want to point out on this slide under the proration to the appropriation, that does happen at the fourth calculation each year, so that's why there is no amount showing for 17-18. That would result next year in the fourth calculation, but we did lose the 162,000. I believe the total student growth over the state was close to what had been estimated. So we did not lose a lot of money because we have, in years past, lost substantially more than that. But overall, the total FEFP will show a decrease of $715,294 from year to year. Bringing this forward, you can see that the required local effort, which again, the House would like to hold at the same level. There's just a small decrease of $145,000, which brings our total state FEFP loss down to $860,000. Under categoricals, our class size reduction funding will also decrease $220,000. And again, we don't have the exact formulas behind that yet, so we're not exactly sure why that's decreasing as well. But overall, the state funding for FEFP will decrease over $1 million. Under local funding, again, we have the required local effort, which is the small increase based on the legislative RLE, and then the discretionary local effort, which you can see based on our $2.5 billion increase in taxable values, will give us almost $1.8 million in additional FEFP. Unfortunately, that is about the extent of the growth in our FEFP overall, because at the very bottom, you can see the total state funding over $1 million decrease, and then the local $1.9 million increase for a net total of $840,823 from the fourth calculation. This is why that this budget will be very difficult. It shows why we worked hard at putting our financial house in order. You made that your priority, and we already know that we lost $8 million this year between the first and the fourth calc, and now we're going to see very little money. It doesn't even account for the FTE student growth that we'll see next year. This is a history of our FTE students. You can see that back in 07-08, we had just over 64,000 FTE students, and we have steadily increased to 17-08, where we are projecting that growth to 62,701. So we're about 1,500 FTE short of that 07-08. And yet you can see where our total student FTE funding is compared to the state. The red line shows the total FTE funding per student at the state level. And due to mostly the DCD, you can see where Volusia's funding falls short every single year. And if you notice that in 17-18, we actually have an increasing gap between the state FTE funding and our funding. And again, the statewide base student allocation, the House chose to decrease that, and the Senate accepted. This is the first time that the base student allocation has decreased in a non-recession year. So last year, we were making progress. We were just about $2.60 short of getting back to the 07-08 base student allocation, and now it has been decreased for next year. This shows the history of the RLE and the tax roll in Volusia County. You can see that in 07-08, the tax rate was at 4.791 and gradually increased, then decreased after 2012-13. This current year, we were at 4.6 mils, and then for 17-18, it will be decreased to the 4.278 mils. But you can also see how our tax roll has steadily been increasing over these same years where the RLE is decreased, which leaves money on the table for the district because we are not taxing that increase in value every year. This shows the history of our DCD, and one thing that we are tentatively happy about is that the DCD funding, which was a bill introduced by Senator Huckel and Representative Santiago, was included in the budget, and so pending any other changes that happen, we hope that will be done, and hopefully will be included in some of those conversations as that study moves forward. One of the very troubling things about the DCD and the amount that we have lost, over $140 million since 2004 when the formula was changed, is that our free and reduced lunch percentage has increased substantially. We are we are over 20% higher since 07-08 when the recession hit, and we know that it takes a lot of support when you have impoverished students. Not only do they need the teaching time, but they need additional and support that will come from the things that they're dealing with and seeing every day. And so normally, the most needy districts, you would see additional funding that would support those needs. Because of the DCD, though, we do not see this. One of the things that Mrs. Marks shared with me is that of the K through age 18 population, our free and reduced is the 10th highest in the state. So why are we losing the most money? This has been updated for this fiscal year. You can see that Volusia, again, although we are losing a lot of money, the $10.8 million, Polk is one of the losers for this year. Most of the money is going to Broward and Miami-Dade, Palm Beach, but even some of the other counties like Hillsborough and Collier and Duval are also seeing significant money coming in as a result of the DCD. And just moving into the preliminary budget information that we have, talk about where we are at and where we will be going. We create the budget calendar, and then we start doing projections for staffing and our enrollment so that we can determine the funding levels. We look at the school board priorities and strategic plan. As Mrs. Marks said, we have discussions on what those priorities are, and we look at staffing levels for schools and divisions. We have many meetings to review after the initial budget is entered, to look at what the requests are and where adjustments have been made. And then, we come back for additional meetings. As we get the budget from the state and revenue becomes clear in the total picture, then we will refine till we get to the budget adoption phase, which will be tentatively in July and then final in September. And again, we don't know all of the revenue sources that we will receive at the time of the budget adoption. We update them as we go, and then we bring you budget amendments throughout the year as more information becomes known. It's things like grants and our extended day program. One of the areas that we told you about last year when we met on staffing was that there was a formula change that we looked at. If an elementary school had enrollment less than 450 students, then we eliminated an AP, and instead they received a TOA for 11 months. That formula was not changed this year. It seemed to be working fairly well, and so that's the way the positions were staffed this year. The one change that we do have is in the school staffing units. We increased in the core classes, primary, intermediate, and secondary. We increased that FTE funding from by 1 FTE for each of those levels. So primary goes from 16.5 to 17.5, and intermediate from 19.5 to 20.5, and then core from 25 to 26. The non-core, there were no changes. And at the secondary level, we eliminated the extra period supplements. But that is something that we will review again as we meet with the class size committee, and evaluate the staffing and any enrollment as it changes throughout the summer. And just to give you an idea of the staffing formulas, 2009-10 was the last time that we were calculated at the state level on school-wide averages. So we were at these levels in 9-10, in 16-17. We were 2 to 3 units below in all of the areas for core. In the non-core, you can see that those formulas have been a little bit higher, and that is not changed for next year in the non-core. We kept those at the same levels. The bottom chart just shows your class size averages calculated at the school-wide level in 9-10 and then 16-17. So we would anticipate that in 17-18 with the increase by 1 in those core formulas that we would see that inch up a little bit, but nowhere near the 2009-10 level. And again, we will meet with class size committee, and we will have somebody that will be reviewing all of the scheduling behind the scenes, working with the APs and the clerks and the principals in the elementary schools to help them with their scheduling, and just a second set of eyes that can analyze those class sizes. And then we meet weekly and look at where the enrollments have changed as those get entered into the system by the registrars, and look at any actions that we might take, and any recommendations or requests that come from the principals or other staff. So this is a summary of the school staffing changes. You can see based on the formula that teacher units will decrease by 134.8 next year. Paraprofessionals are based on ESE staffing and the request there. The teacher on assignments, that increase there is the 13 FTE is for the middle school and to support their redesign. what we're looking at here on the preliminary budget is our revenues at $453 million based on the FEFP that we just received. We also are holding the transfer from capital at the same level as this year. The plan had been to continue decreasing that, but we feel that we really have leveled out there, and we will leave it and not decrease the revenue by another $2 million. The cost, on the cost side, $460 million is where we are tentatively at this point. You know that a large increase that we're facing is the $8 million worth of salary increases. The legislature also increased the FRS rate. That will be an increase of $1.1 million based on our salaries. The additional school staffing is basically those 13 teachers on assignment to assist at the middle school level. And then we have department requests for salary and non-salary allocations. The lottery, we also received money in the fourth calculation that we distributed to schools, $5 per FTE.
Yeah, it's for SAC.
Yes, for their SAC. And then charter schools allocation based on the increase in enrollment for next year that was requested by our charter schools. We'll have to allocate additional money. At this point, we have a shortfall of $7 million. Some of the savings that we have, health insurance savings. So when I had told you that we felt there was something in our budgeting that changed once with the health insurance cap went into place. And what we have seen is that the formula we used previously was an average of plans because we never knew what plan employees would take, so it was an average. But once we had that cap in place, we really could estimate the cost, the total cost, but we had employees that weren't taking the insurance. And so we have found some savings there this year where we had our budget was a little high, and then we'll find that, we'll adjust that again for next year. Also teacher retirement savings, when we start building the budget, we're using current positions, current salaries, and we know that we have teacher retirements at the end of the school year that will result in teachers being hired at lower salaries, so we'll have about a $3 million savings there. Again, the change in staffing formulas that we showed you, the allocations to schools, that will result in about $6.7 million in savings. And then the closure for Catapult also will result in some savings of about $600,000. Some other things that are still on the horizon that we have not entered into the budget yet is our GCA contracts. That's based on the CPI. We also are still speaking with our school resource, with the county, with our school resource officers, so we haven't entered that. And there are some other changes that will pop up as we continue to meet and review. That is a status of where we are at right now, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have, as well as Mrs. Marks.
Mrs. Wright, would you like to start? Or
No, you can come back to me.
I can come back. Ms. Cuthbert?
Yes, I have several. Will our CTE facilitators remain in
Yes, ma'am.
context? So they're not being taken away?
No.
Okay. We're losing one campus advisor. At what level of school is that? In middle school or high school? Or
that's at high school.
At a high school
level. Mm-hmm.
Is it because of student population?
No. What happened was this individual was a campus advisor at another school and became a coach at
Gotcha.
at another school.
Okay.
And so they, at the end of this year,
That's terminated?
Yes.
Okay, I understand. Thank you. Could you, for the benefit of the public, could you tell us, when we receive lottery funds, what do we use it for? Who gets it? Because so many people in the public still think lottery is still supposed to enhance schools. And could we be a little more specific where that lottery money goes? And who tells it? Who tells the lottery officials where it goes?
I believe that the statute tells the lottery officials where the funding goes. I know that pre-K through 12 does not receive the substantial portion of lottery funding, but we receive the school recognition money, and that is distributed to the schools. That's designated for schools that are improving or maintaining.
And school grade. And then most recently, funding was allocated to school advisory councils at each school, and that was the $5 per FTE allocation. So each school received that notification just a week or two ago.
Yes. And that goes to the SAC to determine how they will spend that.
So nothing goes to school districts in order to put back into the classroom, from our general fund?
From the lottery money?
Yes.
The lottery money that
for us to use, however we want.
Well, actually, this year, in statute, what we have to distribute is the first
$5.
The first A+ money goes directly all to schools. Then if there is any money left, we get the $5 per FTE. Above that, that money is going this year to reduce our shortfall that we received. But there's no general money that just comes to the district that's unrestricted. And last year we did not receive any of that funding for just the general money. We had distributed $2 per FTE to schools in the beginning of the school year, and then they took that back, which we did not take back from the schools. We just didn't distribute an additional $3 per FTE because we didn't receive it. It depends on statewide how much money is available. So it just varies year to year, and we don't have any control over what comes to us.
Okay. Do you know how Bright Future scholarships are funded?
The Bright
Future scholarships. Is that funded by lottery?
Yes.
I believe it is.
Yes, it is.
I believe it is.
Just wanted to make that
Yes,
public.
ma'am.
Okay, so, and right now, the decision of how much percentage is paid for students all determined by the state legislature?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's not by counties, it's by the state legislature. Okay, thank you. So, let's see, I have one more question. I think I'm back on slide 23. Non-core, 9 through 12. 9-10 was 32, 16, and it looks like 17-18 will be 39. Non-core, you mean art, music, gym, but not like AP classes?
No.
Okay. Or IB classes? Okay, they're still considered core because the state says that those can be expanded.
Right.
Those courses are self-funding, so that money is distributed to the schools that have the AP. They generate the money.
For the IB program, those do that, right?
Well.
And a part of what, when we're looking at the non-core, you're exactly right. We're looking at PE, we're looking at art, we're looking at music, band. The majority of those classes, some CTE courses as well. But as always, student safety, the number of seats that we have in a lab or any place else really dictates the number that are in there.
Okay, is there, I'm sure you are, but are you speaking to teachers who are teaching these non-core students in classes to see how their workload is, how they're able to maintain grades and discipline in the classroom, and the physical space that they have? is there a conversation or is there a representative of their group to give the district some feedback on how they're handling the 39?
Certainly. Well, and that seems like a really large number, but I'll just remind you that bands could have up to 100 students per one period, if that's the size of their band. Typically, we're not going to see that large of a number in an art class. Again, let's go back to safety and that type of thing. And I know that the curriculum specialists, when they are working with, especially, Dr. Musgrave or, goodness, I've got her first name in my, Beth.
I know who you're talking about.
Right, okay. Yeah, they work with their teachers and they talk with them about that. But I would probably also think it's an area we could do a better job of when we're talking with our non-core teachers. Grace Kellemeyer, as she's working with the PE teachers, about management, as well as how is it working, and then what do we need to consider. Also, I would suspect that some of those conversations are held at the school level with the school principal, as certainly that dialogue is open back and forth between the teacher and the principal. I've had teachers come to me and say, I can't take any more. Okay. And let's talk about what you need to make it work for you. And so, like I said, we can certainly at the district level with the curriculum specialists be doing a better job at gathering some of that information and feedback from our non-core teachers, as well as encouraging our principals to make sure they have that open dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm also concerned about our new teachers coming onto campus, especially non-core, new teachers at all levels, in order to support them in the management of their students and of the workload, and because we want to make sure that they stay with us and are able to manage that first year. Is there a way that we can still set up some kind of buddy system or peer system to assist them? Because I know the coaches are going to be stretched, especially at the middle school level.
Yeah. We have looked at and are redesigning our new teacher orientations and induction program, and really looking at expanding that role of the buddy teacher or the peer teacher that's right there on campus, where they have somebody to go to, a designated somebody to go to that can help them answer some of those questions and support them. And some of them are going to be in their curriculum area and some of them are not. Just, hey, this is the school and this is where to find things, kind of conversation that they would have. But that is a part of the focus of what we're looking at. And I have to say, now I don't have the hard numbers because this is something we would be presenting later on with all of you, but at this point we have kept more of our first year teachers to date when we compare to this time of year last year. So some things have changed, and the support, and like I said, we continue to look at our new program, our teacher induction program and our new teacher program, and some changes will be coming with that too.
Okay, and I know Mr. Russell has said that it's more of a school-based decision. When I inquired, some principals are doing it and others aren't doing it as fervently, I should say, as fervently as others. Is there a way that we can encourage, from a district point of view, that we highly, highly, highly suggest that they put in a peer system?
Certainly. As a part of the redesign of the new teacher induction program, we talk about Canvas as our learning management system. And years ago, they used to have to create a paper portfolio of items to check off. And each school site or building level administrator knew what their responsibilities were and what the expectation was. And so we're going back to that, but creating a bit of making it digital and putting it into Canvas so that it becomes more clear what expectations are and how to help get there.
Okay. And one other question on page 23. When class size averages from the 2245 grades 9 through 12, or any of them, are they eggs to eggs? I mean, the same calculated at school-wide averages? Is it the same comparison? Is 09, 010 equal to 16, 17?
Yes, it does include the ESE classes as well at school-wide average.
Okay, so that's included on that. Okay, as of right now, I think that's all I have.
Mrs. Wright.
Okay. I'm gonna start.
Thank you.
Mrs. Marks, I'll start with you.
Yes, ma'am.
On page 4 and 5, as we talk about instructional priorities, why these priorities? We know a little bit about the middle school redesign, so.
So do you want the specific ones on
Yeah,
the different grade levels? We'll start there.
Just, yeah, let's start with elementary.
Okay.
So why these priorities?
Well, when we look at going back towards standards-based instruction, and a part of what we, again, that whole focus, because what we know is that the better we are at helping our teachers teach to the level of the standards, and then supporting our students to help get them there as well, we know that we will begin to see that increase on their state assessments. And that connection, that, we don't really teach to the test, but bringing that level of instruction and increasing that. And a part of what we're looking at doing in rewriting and refining, I guess is maybe a better word, those ELA and math, English language arts and math modules, has to do with adding in more of the digital resources into those. The other thing that we're going to be doing is, I think we've decided that, some people are really ready for digital lesson plans, if you will, or their curriculum maps, and having all of that in one place. And maybe some others really like to have something in their hands. So a part of what we're going to be doing is helping make those resources available to them in that format as well. Why these? We figured that these are the ones that are going to move the needle for our students. When we look at, especially, that's what we're looking at. And when we go back to the 3 areas of focus of the personalized learning, creating a culture for learning, and that culture for learning is really very broad-based. You have social emotional under there, but you also have that restorative justice under there, as well as
You owe us $50.
Sure. Our Tier 1 level of support for behavior management is CHAMPS across our district. And so creating that culture for learning is creating that and helping each student to reach that place where they feel safe and where they are, have the environment around them that supports them in their learning.
Okay, so you've caused me to ask you 2 more questions. So let's stay with the elementary.
Okay, stick to
Can I say something also
Sure.
that's very important? Let's say the world changed tomorrow and all statewide assessments went away. The standards are very rigorous. And that's what we need to teach our students. These are at a much higher level than when we went to school. And so from my perspective, a shift to standards-based instruction is not only because we're held accountable for that, it's because these standards are national, even though we have Florida standards, and they are extremely rigorous.
Which lead me to both of you then. Okay. Then the question becomes, are we basing our decision on data that we've seen, not just from our district, from other good practices? Or are we assuming this because we see something going on? Why? How can we support this? And that's what I'm asking. Is it based on data from our district, or are we looking at best practices?
Yes. I would respond yes to all of that. I really would.
With the FADS piece and all that.
Okay.
Right.
Andrew was there too.
Yes.
And so in hearing that, and I'm looking at the superintendent because he's the one that got to answer this one. In hearing that, it almost sounds like our teachers may not have a good handle on the standards. And if that is the case, then there's no way our students can.
Well, let me answer it this way. We are now in year 7 of these standards, but I can tell you in the last 2 years, we've been talking about the instructional shifts, and all that is making sure that you're teaching the standards in the classroom. It is gaining momentum, and most of the teachers are on target, I believe, when it comes to teaching the standards. It takes a lot of work, and it goes back to one focus, what you were talking about. And I know Mr. Spar and I have talked about this for next year. this is our primary focus, you know, shifting to standards-based instruction.
And you know, the other area that we see that in is going to be reflected in the student work and the student work products, because too frequently what we were seeing, when you may recall, we talked about a light touch survey that was done in our district with an organization called TNTP, and what they found within our district was representative of what was found across our state, was that when questioned, the majority of teachers, over 70%, believed that they were teaching to the level of rigor of the standards. But when knowledgeable people came in and they did this survey and they walked classrooms and they looked at student work products, they found that 7% or fewer were actually at the level of rigor of the standards. What we found in our own district is that sometimes when we are walking in classes, the student work products are not as rigorous and do not really reflect the learning that was happening that takes place. For an example, it might have been on the same general topic, but the level of work that the student was given was really a year or two below what it needed to be.
Okay.
And certainly I don't want to say that that's the case in every classroom.
No, I agree. I agree. And I'll address that. It has nothing to do with us, but Mrs. Mueller, when we talk, oh no, this is actually back to you, Mrs. Marks.
Okay.
So when we look at TOAs, I know we are saying that we need some at the middle school.
Okay.
But why so many?
That's one in each middle school. And part of what our goal with them, we will be working with them and providing some additional training in restorative justice practices. We had the initial grant with Stetson this year with 2 of our middle schools, and Dr. Joyce Monday were working on this. And in those 2 middle schools, we saw a decrease in the number of out-of-school suspensions, which is also indicative of a decrease in the number of discipline referrals that are being written. And those 2 middle schools were New Smyrna Beach Middle as well as Taylor Middle. And the goal, you'll see it's on our consent agenda. They have written a grant looking for some additional funds, but we will move forward. And a part of what we're doing with that then is going to be teaching whether a middle school is going to be receiving the training for the restorative justice practices or not. Their TOA, who will be working a lot with behaviors, will also be receiving this training through us so that they can begin to work with teachers as well as their own practice. What we don't, we're working with Cindy Fisher, who you know has been the guru for a number of years for us, and she and Amy Hall as well as Mandy Elsie are working together to pull this training together. They will receive additional training that they need to have as a teacher on assignment, but a large part of the focus is going to be on these restorative justice practices and positive behavioral supports, because we all know that if somebody is being sent out of class, they're not learning on a regular basis. And then we have lots of ways we can better support the students and the teachers in those scenarios.
Mr. Persis, do you have any questions? We have about 12 more minutes.
Yeah. I was wanting to ask you, regard to the $6.7 million in savings, you said,
Yes.
Debbie, then that is coming directly from the reduction in teacher units. Is that where the bulk of that savings is being generated?
Yes, that's correct.
And so I guess the question that begs itself is, if our student population is remaining about the same enrollment for next year, then why are we reducing the teaching units from 134.8? Is that just to increase the staffing formula? And so we're going to have 400 more students, let's say, but 135 fewer teachers.
Yes. When we built the budget and allocated staffing for this current year, we had a much higher enrollment projection. And one of the things that we do in the class size committee meetings, again, is look at the staffing. And we pulled back a lot of those units, but we spend a lot of time making sure that on the October survey date that we don't have any classes throughout the district that are over those caps of 18 and 22 and 25. So when we when the controlled open enrollment policy was adopted, then really what that changed us to is a school of choice, and that we will be calculated on school-wide average for class size compliance. So while it may increase the class sizes some, we're looking at hard caps, because after you get past the October survey date in statute, there is an allowance for 3 students per class in grade levels K through 3, and then 5 students per grade level in 4 through 12. So while on that date you may have the exact number of students that you need to be in compliance, we don't follow that after that date. We do the survey, and then we do a survey in February as well that's submitted, and then our FEFP is recalculated based on that. So could it increase the class sizes that you see on the October survey date? It could, but we're looking at those hard caps, and our goal, although we're saving money, is not to affect kids in negative ways. And we do that throughout when we meet on class size. We give more units, we take units, and we know that this year we didn't pull back as many units as we should have, even though our enrollment didn't come to fruition. So we could have pulled back more units, and principals realize that they really may have been overstaffed in many instances this year. Where they didn't see those class size get larger.
I know. I know our time is brief too, so I'm trying just to get a couple of questions in here.
Sure.
So in regard to middle school, we still looking at 7-period day?
At this time, yes.
At this time, yes.
So it's not
making a change in that. And if you'd like, I've got a couple of middle school principals who are working on the rationale, why they believe that to be important, and we can bring them forward and have them share that with you.
Yeah, I'd like to see the rationale why 6-period day is important. I'd like to see the difference between a 6-period day to 7-period day, how much it costs, how much the savings would be, and what exactly would we lose by having a 6-period day instead of a 7-period day, especially now as reading is not a subject per se anymore, but just integrated into other things.
Correct.
Seems like there's going to be a lot of other choices that students will have, electively speaking.
Well, and a part of what I want to make sure, I'm pulling together the plans from each of the middle schools, and really the majority of them have chosen academic electives.
Right.
So it's not that it's I don't want to say it's not fun to be in an academic elective, but you know what I'm saying.
But when there's only 4 core
Correct.
subjects, that does leave 3 other things.
I did ask that, Carl. I had the 3 middle school principals at a futures board meeting, and I asked, and they just want to offer the children more choices. Is one of the things they said.
Yeah.
So if they give them 3, opportunities instead of 2 opportunities, they feel like that might be more engaging for them. But I would like to hear what they have to say.
I'd just like to hear what it would save. That's
We can do that, and
should be pretty easy to figure that out, I would think.
Well, the money side, not so much for me, but I'll let that, Miss Miller.
Deb can do that in her head, I'm sure. So,
I don't know about that, but.
And the other thing, I like, Ms. Cuthbert, you brought up about the lottery, because it is something that we continue to try to convince the public. But I was looking at a graph, and it's, for instance, of every $1 that you spend for your lottery ticket, only 28 cents goes to education. I think a lot of folks think that it's like
and the state
75
cut
cents.
their funding because we're getting the lottery money.
Yeah, so just remember that when you buy your $1 ticket, we're only getting 28 cents. And then the other interesting thing I saw about the lottery was, of the money that goes to education, only 15% of it goes to K-12 operating funds. So, when you start figuring out exactly how much is coming to K-12. It's minuscule. It's minuscule.
Where does the rest go?
I was wondering, oh, well then, the money goes to prizes and money goes to universities, it goes to colleges, it goes to all sorts of things, but as far as we're concerned with K-12, that's not much. I don't know whether this is the time or not, but since we're talking money and budgets and so forth, I never thought these words would come out of my mouth, but I'm counting on Governor Scott to help us on the education front, and I would hope that he would veto the entire budget. And I hope he's mad enough to do it. I hear that he is, so he could really make his mark, and hasn't been since Lawton Childs in 1992. I think he was the last one to do it and put them all back to work and come up with something that is really commendable rather than the budget that they passed. So I know he has 14 days to do that, and he can do it line item wise, but he can also just veto the whole thing. The members, Madam Chair, of the Central Florida Public School Boards Coalition, they decided as a group that they would be sending that message to the governor's office.
They that group represents over 1.3 million children.
Yeah.
That's a huge, powerful voice. And last year they asked us to write legislation.
Yeah.
So I do hope, I'm with you. It's still not over till it's over.
No, it's not over till it's over.
Any clue why on page 16 in 2015 we went up in the DCD and then we dropped so much? You don't have to tell me now if you figure it out, but it's just so obvious it went up and then all of a sudden it's going back down. And I know it's income-based and formula-based. And then the shortfall on page 25, $7 million, does that already include the next year's raises? Is that part of the $7 million? Okay.
Yes,
okay.
it does.
Okay. That's all of my questions. So we will adjourn this meeting and we'll resume at 5:30. Thank you.
My kids were in elementary school. I saw that there was a need because not necessarily, I thought this would be a way that we could kind of help the elementary school teachers implement science and show them things that maybe they could bring into their classroom that were easy ways to show science.
Look at me. I'm a scientist.
Our class feeds into University High School, so we're a mini academy, our mixed media class. So that class, the students are out of reading. They don't take the reading elective, and they take this class instead. So we bring in all the different standards for reading also into the mixed media class.
Ms. McLeod's class introduces us to a variety of different technologies, and that helps us expand our minds to different technologies, how to grow as individuals, because she's opening our minds and we're thinking outside the box. Instead of just using Microsoft Office Word, we're introduced to so many things like eMaze and Sway, and it's an amazing experience, really.
It's great for them to have the basics, because when they get over to the university high school, then they can move on into knowing everything that they need to know for the first year, and then maybe possibly moving on into a second year program right away.
It's using, all the components are Arduino based. There is a water level sensor, a water temperature sensor, and also
well, many of our students involved in what's called a maker fair. Maker fair is many things. It's part science fair, it's part inventor, it's part art show, really anything under the sun. The students find things that they are passionate about and they make. So that's what they're here celebrating today. It's called the greatest show and tell on earth. Really, it's all the things that they don't get to do in a traditional classroom. It is STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics to the max. It's really a way that the kids can have an opportunity to do something they want to do, and it hits many of the different aspects that are supposed to be covered in curriculum.
A downhill go-kart?
Yes, you use your feet to pivot.
Where's your brakes?
No brakes.
The majority of our students here today are from the Academy of Information Technology and Robotics, but we did invite all of Spruce Creek High School to participate. This year is really the first year that we're doing it, so we're getting the word out about what Maker Faire is. And we're hoping to get everybody excited about coming and being more a part of it next year.
Hi, I'm Melanie Jenkins. I teach at Deltona High. I have marine science and honors biology. It's important for students to take a leadership role because it increases their social skills. It allows them to share their ideas and feel worth of their ideas. If they can share information and teach other students, they really truly know the material. And many times they can express that sometimes in a better way than we can, or give additional information that can help their peers. Can't imagine doing anything else. I love coming to Deltona High School every day. I love my students. I sponsor 3 different clubs at school. I definitely bleed blue and silver, and I love teaching.
I wanted to have something for kids that would be after school, especially for kids from low-income homes that didn't necessarily have the opportunity to have enriching clubs because their parents couldn't possibly afford it after school. And so that's how the Da Vinci Club got started. I wanted to integrate reading with the arts and have the kids be able to make projects based on books that they were reading that enabled them to be creative and get them desiring to read. And once you get it to be the robot, could you then create a costume to make it be the two different?
And it was a challenge to get her to read, even to get her to read things about things that she liked, and her favorite thing is horses. So Miss Dietrich's, bring her into Da Vinci. I think she'll really like it. And I was quite surprised. Every Thursday, Friday, she looked forward to the Da Vinci Club. She looked forward to reading.
Stetson has written a grant to have Da Vinci Club go statewide. Every district possibly would have a Da Vinci Club. And so it's going through the legislature, and our Volusia County Da Vinci Club would become a statewide club.
It's not about the level of the student, it's about engaging them into reading, and by letting them do the crafts and the projects they want to learn, they want to come to school.
I think that these kids will go on to be lifelong readers. If they're having this much fun and able to experience another side of reading, that they're going to carry that on into middle and high school and hopefully even college. They know that they have those leisure reading books that they can go to, not just the textbooks later on. So it's just establishing that lifelong reading.
Go ahead and get started on that.
Hi, I'm Rachel Hazel. I'm the Executive Director of K-12 Curriculum. I work with curriculum specialists and with all of our departments that are focused specifically on student achievement and curriculum to make sure that we are implementing the best possible instruction and curriculum for our students. Our district has always been on the forefront of change and always been a leader in moving students forward. This is a very exciting time to be a part of district leadership in our schools. Volusia County is making an impact not just here, but as a model district for other districts, and I'm excited to be a part of that.
I would likely focus on three things. One is the importance of not only going to college but graduating. And I use college in the broadest sense possible, thinking about the importance of acquiring skills, certificates, credentials, and degrees in order to be happy and self-sufficient and able to have or create a job with the families.
We've got to love and support our students. I hope teachers hear that message and support staff hear that message, of course, which I know they already do, and I hope students hear a message. You've got to be successful, and we've got to strive for higher heights and love each other.
We have invited the elementary school students from Horizon Elementary to experience some STEAM activities, which are science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So the purpose is to expose kindergarten students who have a natural wonder for science to the things that are maybe not necessarily part of their curriculum, or things that maybe elementary school teachers may not be able to bring into their curriculum in their classroom, and then also having our high school students teach them those activities, and so it gives them a little inspiration to what they can expect as they go through school and what science will be like throughout the years. When my kids were in elementary school, I saw that there was a need because not necessarily every elementary school teacher is very proficient in science. So I thought this would be a way that we could kind of help the elementary school teachers implement science and show them things that maybe they could bring into their classroom that were easy ways to show science.
Look at me, I'm a scientist.
Our class feeds into University High School, so we're a mini academy, our mixed media class. So that class, the students are out of reading. They don't take the reading elective. and they take this class instead, so we bring in all the different standards for reading also into the mixed media class.
Ms. McLeod's class introduces us to a variety of different technologies, and that helps us expand our minds to different technologies, how to grow as individuals, because she's opening our minds and we're thinking outside the box. You know, instead of just using Microsoft Office Word, we're introduced to so many things like emaze and sway, and it's an amazing experience, really.
It's great for them to have the basics, because when they get over to the university high school, then they can move on into knowing everything that they need to know for the first year, and then maybe possibly moving on into a second year program right away.
It's using, all the components are Arduino based. There's a water level sensor, a water temperature sensor, and also a
well, many of our students involved in what's called a maker fair. Maker fair is many things. It's part science fair, it's part inventor, it's part art show, really anything under the sun. The students find things that they are passionate about and they make. So that's what they're here celebrating today. It's called the greatest show and tell on earth. Really, it's all the things that they don't get to do in a traditional classroom. It is STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics to the max. It's really a way that the kids can have an opportunity to do something they want to do, and it hits many of the different aspects that are supposed to be covered in curriculum.
Downhill go-kart?
Yes, you use your feet to pivot.
Where's your brakes?
No brakes.
The majority of our students here today are from the Academy of Information Technology and Robotics, but we did invite all of Spruce Creek High School to participate. This year is really the first year that we're doing it, so we're getting the word out about what Maker Fair is, and we're hoping to get everybody excited about coming and being more a part of it next year.
Hi, I'm Melanie Jenkins. I teach at Deltona High. I have marine science and honors biology. It's important for students to take a leadership role because it increases their social skills. It allows them to share their ideas and feel worth of their ideas. If they can share information and teach other students, they really truly know the material. And many times they can express that sometimes in a better way than we can, or give additional information that can help their peers. Can't imagine doing anything else. I love coming to Deltona High School every day. I love my students. I sponsor 3 different clubs at school. I definitely bleed blue and silver, and I love teaching.
wanted to have something for kids that would be after school, especially for kids from low-income homes that didn't necessarily have the opportunity to have enriching clubs because their parents couldn't possibly afford it after school. And so that's how the Da Vinci Club got started. I wanted to integrate reading with the arts and have the kids be able to make projects based on books that they were reading that enabled them to be creative and get them desiring to read. Once you get it to be the robot, could you then create a costume to make it be the two different?
And it was a challenge to get her to read, even to get her to read things about things that she liked, and her favorite thing is horses. So Miss Dietrich's, bring her into Da Vinci, I think she'll really like it. And I was quite surprised every Thursday, Friday, she looked forward to the Da Vinci Club. She looked forward to reading.
Stetson has written a grant to have Da Vinci Club go statewide. Every district possibly would have a Da Vinci Club. And so it's going through the legislature, and our Volusia County Da Vinci Club would become a statewide club.
It's not about the level of the student, it's about engaging them into reading, and by letting them do the crafts and the projects they want to learn, they want to come to school.
I think that these kids will go on to be lifelong readers. If they're having this much fun and able to experience another side of reading, that they're going to carry that on into middle and high school and hopefully even college. They know that they have those leisure reading books that they can go to, not just the textbooks later on. So it's just establishing that lifelong reading.
Go ahead and get started on that.
Hi, I'm Rachel Hazel. I'm the Executive Director of K-12 Curriculum. I work with curriculum specialists and with all of our departments that are focused specifically on student achievement and curriculum to make sure that we are implementing the best possible instruction and curriculum for our students. Our district has always been on the forefront of change and always been a leader in moving students forward. This is a very exciting time to be a part of district leadership in our schools. Volusia County is making an impact not just here, but as a model district for other districts, and I'm excited to be a part of that.
I would likely focus on three things. One is the importance of not only going to college but graduating. And I use college in the broadest sense possible, thinking about the importance of acquiring skills, certificates, credentials, and degrees in order to be happy and self-sufficient and able to have or create a job with the family-sustaining wage and opportunities for advancement. The second is to be incredibly selfish in identifying and pursuing passion. Students who are most often neglected and ignored need to be supported in identifying and pursuing their passion. And the last thing is for them to take care of themselves, right? It's incredibly difficult for young people to exist. So I'll spend a little bit of time as well talking about and encouraging them to practice some self-care and to take care of themselves while being students and demonstrating the resilience and grit required in order.
True is this notion of we've got to love and support our students. I hope teachers hear that message and support staff hear that message, of course, which I know they already do, and I hope students hear a message. We've got to be successful and we've got to strive for higher heights and love each other.
We have we've invited the elementary school students from Horizon Elementary to experience some STEAM activities, which are science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So the purpose is to expose kindergarten students who have a natural wonder for science to the things that are maybe not necessarily part of their curriculum, or things that maybe elementary school teachers may not be able to bring into their curriculum in their classroom, and then also having our high school students teach them those activities, and so it gives them a little inspiration to what they can expect as they go through school and what science will be like throughout the years.
Hold the coin.
When my kids were in elementary school, I saw that there was a need because not necessarily every elementary school teacher is very proficient in science. So I thought this would be a way that we could kind of help the elementary school teachers implement science and show them things that maybe they could bring into their classroom that were easy ways to show science.
Look at me.
Here, check
I'm a scientist.
Our class feeds into University High School, so we're a mini academy, our mixed media class. So that class, the students are out of reading. They don't take the reading elective, and they take this class instead. So we bring in all the different standards for reading also into the mixed media class.
Ms. McLeod's class introduces us to a variety of different technologies, and that helps us expand our minds to different technologies, how to grow as individuals, because she's opening our minds and we're thinking outside the box. You know, instead of just using Microsoft Office Word, we're introduced to so many things like eMaze and Sway, and it's an amazing experience, really.
It's great for them to have the basics, because when they get over to the university high school, then they can move on into knowing everything that they need to know for the first year, and then maybe possibly moving on into a second year program right away.
It's using, all the components are Arduino based. There is a water level sensor, a water temperature sensor, and also a
Well, many of our students involved in what's called a maker fair. Maker fair is many things. It's part science fair, it's part inventor, it's part art show, really anything under the sun. The students find things that they are passionate about and they make. So that's what they're here celebrating today. It's called the greatest show and tell on earth. Really, it's all the things that they don't get to do in a traditional classroom. It is STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics to the max. It's really a way that the kids can have an opportunity to do something they want to do, and it hits many of the different aspects that are supposed to be covered in curriculum.
Downhill go-kart?
Yes, you use your feet to pivot.
Where's your brakes?
No brakes.
The majority of our students here today are from the Academy of Information Technology and Robotics, but we did invite all of Spruce Creek High School to participate. This year is really the first year that we're doing it, so we're getting the word out about what Maker Fair is, and we're hoping to get everybody excited about coming and being more a part of it next year.
Hi, I'm Melanie Jenkins. I teach at Deltona High. I have marine science and honors biology. It's important for students to take a leadership role because it increases their social skills. It allows them to share their ideas and feel worth of their ideas. If they can share information and teach other students, they really truly know the material. And many times they can express that sometimes in a better way than we can, or give additional information that can help their peers. can't imagine doing anything else. I love coming to Deltona High School every day. I love my students. I sponsor 3 different clubs at school. I definitely bleed blue and silver, and I love teaching.
I'd like to call this meeting to order for May 9th, 2017. If all of you will stand and join me, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome all of you here, as well as listening online. Massive crowd, I wonder why. I'd like to introduce everybody at the dais with me. To my far left is Mrs. Ida Wright, representing District 2. To her right is Dr. John Hill, representing District 1. To his right is Mr. Ted Doran, our school board attorney. To my far right is Miss Connie Wines, our agency clerk. To her left is Mr. Carl Persis, representing District 4. To his left is Mrs. Linda Cuthbert, our vice chairwoman, representing District 3. To her left is Mr. Russell, our superintendent, and I'm Melody Johnson, representing District 5 and the chairwoman this year. Items for approval on this agenda are 2.02, 4.01, 11.01, 13.01, 14.01, and 16.01. There will be public participation today, one time, for any items that you're interested in, general interest for public education in Volusia County. Each meeting, we have an opportunity to talk about the district vision statement. A board member gives their comments, and tonight it's Mrs. Wright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ensuring all students receive a superior 21st education is the vision statement for Volusia County Schools. And over the last 2 weeks, I've had an opportunity to go to the state of Michigan and review. I was there, my heart was really heavy on the state of education, not just public education, education. And in 1848, a pioneer named Mr. Mann said education could be the greatest equalizer for all people in all conditions. As we sit here tonight and we prepare for administrative assignments, you have a huge task on your shoulder. As we prepare the next generation for jobs and careers that we can't even imagine. It can be an exciting time, but it also it is sitting on my heart. Are we doing the very best for the children of this county? So as you take on a leadership role, every morning that you rise, look in the mirror, and your question should be, will I give the very best to all the children that I serve in this county? Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Wright. I was actually taught, I'm just going to say this, better is the enemy of best, because if you keep saying you're doing something better than you used to, then you may not still be doing your best.
Amen.
Powerful. Thank you. No kidding. Somebody else taught me that. 2.01, is there any changes or additions or removals?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you. 2.02 is the approval of the agenda. Do I have any motions?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 3.01 is public participation. Mrs. Wade is coming this way. What I'd like you to do is come to the microphones, one of the 3 microphones, state your name and address for the record, and address it to me. Our first lady, her name is Ann Green and Meredith Gilbert. Do I do both at the same time? They signed up together? Okay.
Madam Chairman, school board members, Mr. Russell, my name is Meredith Gilbert. My address is 750 West River Oak Drive, Ormond Beach.
Just, you can pull it, you can pull it towards you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And I am Ann Green. I live at 78 Rosewood Avenue, Ormond Beach, Florida, and I am the academic coach at Osceola Elementary School. I will never forget October 21st, 2016. It was on that very date that I experienced the most amazing professional learning of my career. It was on that very date that I visited Ron Clark Academy and met a fellow educator who had already inspired me through his professional writings, such as Move Your Bus and The Essential 55. It was on that very date that I actually got to sit down with this incredible educator who now I get to call my mentor and share with him how he has inspired me to use some of his unique teaching methods to create what is now referred to as Osceola Writes on our campus, and how it is positively impacting the writing data. Yes, it was on that very date that I got to meet Ron Clark. Up until that day, it was only a dream of mine, but my dream became a reality, and I will never forget the impact that it had on me as a teacher as well as an academic coach. In addition, it was during that professional learning that I was able to watch how his incredible teachers use their engaging teaching methods and their belief in advanced rigor to deliver the highest quality educational experience for all of their students. I want that. I was also able to witness their level of passion from teachers, the faculty, and even the students. Passion was in abundance across his campus. That's another thing I want. And I was lucky enough to bring that passion back to Osceola Elementary. And now I have one of my fellow teachers who wants to share about her experience as well.
In December, I found out I would be visiting the Ron Clark Academy for Professional Development Opportunity. To say I was ecstatic is putting it mildly. I watched the Ron Clark movie, read his books, even follow him on all of social media. I told you I was ecstatic. I could not wait to see this amazing school in person. However, I have to admit, I was also skeptical. That's right, I said skeptical. I was visiting a middle school, a private middle school in the middle of Atlanta. How could I possibly implement anything that they do in my first grade classroom in a Title I public school? Let me say that again, first grade, Title I public school. Well, today marked 51 days of school since my visit to the Ron Clark Academy, and let me tell you about the impact of that visit. I'm a different teacher. My classroom is a different place. My students are different. You would not believe the things these 6-year-olds are doing. It's all because of what I experienced at Ron Clark. I implemented his essential 55 rules the day I got back from Atlanta. Yeah, all 55, we talked about them. As a school and as teachers, it is our responsibility to create responsible, respectful, well-rounded students who will become independent, successful adults. Ron Clark's 55 rules embody that philosophy. A few of the rules are making eye contact, answering questions with yes ma'am, no sir, standing when you speak. My first graders are doing this. They're now taking ownership of their behavior and their learning. You would not believe the rigorous discussions that they are having in science, math, and in reading. It's because I raised the bar. Other teachers, administrators, and visitors on campus are noticing the difference in my classroom inside our 4 walls as well as around campus. As a result, the entire first grade team has implemented the Essential 55. We're even holding a book study this summer so we can reach more teachers and more students next school year. When you walk into the Ron Clark Academy, you can just feel the energy and excitement. You feel it from the students, the teachers, the secretaries, the custodians. I want my students to feel that same energy and excitement every single day at school. And guess what? It's happening. They are. When I came back from visiting the academy, friends, family, and colleagues asked me what it was like. It wasn't really something I could put into words. It's the same for what's happening in my classroom. I can't explain the energy and excitement and culture to you with just a few words.
Thank you. I'm sorry, your time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Joanna Caney Oliveri.
Joanna Caney Oliveri, 22 Minnow Drive, Ormond Beach. I wanted to talk about the education symposium that I went to last Monday. Mr. Persis was there and Mr. Russell was already also there. It's a room full of people. It's making me a little bit nervous. And important people. So my biggest takeaway from that, and I'm not gonna, Kim should be up here doing the whole number thing because I'm not the numbers person. But my biggest takeaway was, at the end of the night, he said, the biggest emphasis should be on collaboration, that our teachers need collaboration time, and they need to collaborate without being told how to collaborate. He talked about countries that for every 1 minute of teaching time, the teacher gets 1 minute of planning time. We need to trust our teachers in the classrooms. I'm kind of tired of hearing my teachers say, I just shut the door and I go in and I do my thing, despite everything else. We need to let them do it with their coworkers and brainstorm together without being forced into whatever these things are, PLCs, and I don't even know what they are. I mean, for all I know, it's like a JPEG and a PDF. Like, there's so many acronyms going around, can't keep them straight. But I just think that, with everything happening in Tallahassee, I was on the phone with my mom driving over here, and I was like, if just we could get our part right, with all this stuff that's coming at us from Tallahassee, if we could just focus on what we can do to make our part the very best it can be. And it's kind of like what Mrs. Wright said during her opening statements. I challenge all of you to do exactly what she said as well. You need to wake up every morning and say, am I doing the very best for my students? Because you guys are the ones that can make the impact in Tallahassee. And I know that parent voice is important. And I really feel strongly that as a board, as a superintendent, someone needs to form a task force of all the people in this community that have been here for a very long time, the Hyatt Browns, the Maury Hussinis, the John Caneys, all of these people that have influence and have intelligence and have been in the legislature previously, talk to them, get them in a room, and then go to Governor Scott, go to our state legislators, start calling them out. They're making bad choices and they're getting away with it because they're not hearing from us. I mean, the Speedway asked for us to pay for a walkover. What are they giving back to our community? They have given Pine Ridge How much? Not enough. Any? Nothing. That is a business in our community that has the means to give back to the education of our children, and they're not doing it. It's time for all of us, parents, board members, everyone, to get together and to become an uncomfortable conversation and demand that we get the respect and we get what we need for our students and our teachers, and we stop allowing us to just get trampled over. I feel like we are being trampled over. And I'm tired of, it's just Volusia County. There's nothing we can do about it. We can. We have a lot of smart community members in this town. We have a lot of influential business people in this town. We have a lot of people that sink a lot of campaign money into these campaigns. We need to use that to our benefit. And I was supposed to talk about the pizza thing, got off track. I really feel like we need to give more control to our teachers. We need to give more trust to them. We need to allow them to do what they are trained to do. And we need to support that 100% and know that they are there doing their job despite all of the craziness happening outside their classroom door for the betterment of our students, for the future of our kids. And that's not happening in Tallahassee. I would be the first one. I know none of you really like me. I mean, Mr. Persis kind of might like me. I think Ms. Cuthbert might like me. On any given day, maybe some of you like me a little bit every once in a while. I would do anything to help our school district get what it needs out of Tallahassee. You just have to tell me what you need. And I promise I won't scream at people.
Thank you. I believe it's Juanita Collins. The pen run together. I apologize.
Good evening. I am Juanita Collins at 216 Georgetown Boulevard, Daytona Beach, and I am here to represent the ladies, 103 ladies of the local Daytona Beach alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And I would like to ask those ladies that are here with me if they would stand so that you can see who they are. Our main concern is that we continue to support public education. Many of us in this organization are retired educators or presently employed with the Volusia County Schools. It is our intent to continue to support education, and one of our main priorities is to increase funding for K-12. As an organization, we continue to support scholars in Volusia County Schools. This year, our goal is to give $7,500 in scholarships, $1,000 going to New Smyrna Beach, $1,000 going to Seabreeze, $1,000 to Spruce Creek, $1,000 to Mainland, $1,000 to Atlantic, and then a $500 book scholarship. So, Mr. Superintendent and board members, we, the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, want you to know that we are in this community concerned about public education. And we look forward to partnering with a school or schools in Volusia County.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
4.01 is approval of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 12.01, superintendent's announcement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is National Teacher Appreciation Week, the week of May 7th through the 13th, 2017. National Substitute Appreciation Week, that is also May 7th through the 13th. Teacher Appreciation Day is nationally recognized today, May 9th, 2017. National School Nurse Day will be Wednesday, May 10th, 2017. And our next regular school board meeting will be Tuesday, May 23rd, 2017 at 5:30 p.m. in this boardroom at the DeLand Administrative Complex.
Thank you. 13.01, this is where I heard the collective administrative appointments.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and this will be presented by Mrs. Dana Page Pender.
Good evening, Madam Chair, school board members, Superintendent Russell. We have many excited employees and guests waiting in anticipation for this segment of the board meeting. So without further ado, it is my privilege to present the following 2017-2018 Superintendent's Administrative Recommendations. At this time, I would like to present the recommendation of assistant principal transfers. Brenda Barkley from Holly Hill School to assistant principal at River Springs Middle School. Kristen Brutrico from ESC assistant principal at Seabreeze High School to assistant principal at Seabreeze High School. Al Chandler from Director of Student Transportation Services to ESE Assistant Principal at Atlantic High School. Alicia Douglas from Galaxy Middle School to Assistant Principal at Pine Ridge High School. Tamla Glenn Dixon from RJ Longstreet Elementary to Assistant Principal at Westside Elementary. Jennifer Goodwin from David Hinson Middle School to ESE Assistant Principal at River Springs Middle School. Shannon Hay from Palm Terrace Elementary to a Special Assistant Principal at Alternative Education. Tracy Hines from Alternative Education to Assistant Principal at Reed Patillo Elementary School. Jeffrey Levine from Reed Patillo Elementary to Assistant Principal at Pine Trail Elementary School. Dr. Sherry Pugh from Heritage Middle School to ESE Assistant Principal at Galaxy Middle School. Don Presley from Atlantic High School to ESE Assistant Principal at Seabreeze High School. Gregory Schwartz from Pine Trail Elementary School to Principal Intern at Holly Hill School. Dee Stevenson from River Springs Middle School to ESE Assistant Principal at David Hinson Middle School. And Michael Zablo from River Springs Middle School to Assistant Principal at Southwestern Middle School.
The superintendent recommends the approval of these administrative transfers.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay.
So moved. I second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair, if it's possible, if these young women and
They're not.
men are present, could they stand so we can recognize them?
I was told they're not, since they're
not
transfers, because
Oh,
we knew it'd be
okay.
packed out with new.
Okay,
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Welcome.
Congratulations.
At this time, I would like to present the superintendent's recommendation for assistant principal appointments. When I call your name, please stand. Dawn Alves, science coach at Atlantic High School, to the position of assistant principal at Atlantic High School. Amy Carey, teacher at New Smyrna Beach Middle School, to the position of assistant principal at New Smyrna Beach Middle School. Bobby Jo Grieve, teacher at Deltona High School, to the position of assistant principal at Deltona High School. Lori Lamondi, teacher on assignment at University High School, to ESC assistant principal at Taylor Middle High School. Dr. Stephanie Owens, teacher on assignment at Campbell Middle School, to the position of ESE assistant principal at Heritage Middle School. Lee Reichman, teacher on assignment at Chisholm Elementary, to the position of assistant principal at Chisholm Elementary. And Jody Whitley, teacher at Palm Terrace Elementary, to the position of assistant principal at Palm Terrace Elementary.
The superintendent recommends the approval of these administrative appointments.
You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question.
Sure.
I'd like to just ask the superintendent. I noticed that 1, 2, 3, 4 of the people becoming assistant principals were teachers, and then 3 of them were teachers on assignment.
Yes.
And so just thought you might, there's sort of a thought out there that a person can't become an assistant principal unless they are first a teacher on assignments. Evidently that's
Well, that's the direction that we are moving in. And because a couple of years ago, we began a process with identifying potential leaders, and they are just working their way through Stetson now. So that's the direction we're moving in. Now, the teachers on assignments that you heard tonight, many of them, or several of them, are like testing coordinators and whatnot. But what you're describing is what we saw in the budget report earlier, you know, and
sure.
with the expansion of that.
Yeah, it's great.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, truly.
I would like to present the superintendent's recommendation for principal transfers. Kate Godby, principal on assignment, to the position of principal of Woodward Avenue Elementary School. Stephen Hinson, principal of Turi T. Small Elementary School, to the position of principal of Atlantic High School. Kelly Lewis, principal of Woodward Avenue Elementary School, to the position of principal of Reed Patillo Elementary School. Kimberly McKinney, principal of Reed Patillo Elementary School, to the position of principal of Timbercrest Elementary School. Amanda Wiles, principal at Discovery Elementary School, to the position of principal of Silver Sands Middle School. And Craig Zablo, principal of Timbercrest Elementary School, to the position of principal at Chisholm Elementary School.
The superintendent recommends the approval of the administrative transfers.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we accept these principal transfers.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Congratulations.
At this time, it gives me great pleasure to share the following superintendent's recommendations for principal appointments. Efren Alejandro, principal intern at Taylor Middle High, to the position of principal of Sunrise Elementary. Mr. Alejandro began his career with Volusia County Schools in 1997. He has served in the position of teacher, placement specialist, teacher on assignment, and assistant principal. Mr. Alejandro received his specialist and master's degrees from Nova Southeastern University and his bachelor's degree from Northland College. His certifications are in the areas of educational leadership and varying exceptionalities. Dr. Melissa Carr, Director of Technology Support and Innovation, to the position of principal at DeLand High School. Dr. Carr began her career in Volusia County Schools in 1990. She has served in the capacity of teacher, reading coach, assistant principal, specialist, coordinator, and principal intern. Dr. Carr earned her doctorate and specialist degrees from Nova Southeastern University, her master's degree from the University of Central Florida, and her bachelor's degree from Clarion University of Pennsylvania. Her certifications are in the areas of educational leadership, English, and reading. Kim Feltner, principal intern at Pine Ridge High School, to the position of principal at Discovery Elementary School. Ms. Feltner began her career with Volusia County Schools in 2005 and has served in the capacity of paraprofessional, teacher, teacher on assignment, and assistant principal. Ms. Feltner earned her master's degree from Western Governors University and bachelor's degree from Salve Regina College. Her certifications are in the areas of educational leadership, middle grade science, business education, and exceptional student education. Carrie Corcus, principal intern at Westside Elementary, to the position of principal at Pride Elementary School. Ms. Corcus began her career with Volusia County Schools in 1998 and has served in the capacity of teacher assistant, teacher, teacher on assignment, and assistant principal. Ms. Corcus earned her master's degree from Nova Southeastern University and her bachelor's degree from the University of Central Florida. Her areas of certification are in educational leadership, elementary education, and pre-K primary education. Leslie McLean, principal intern at Mainland High School, to the position of principal at Champion Elementary School. Mr. McLean began his career with Volusia County Schools in 1989 and has served in the capacity of teacher, teacher on assignment, and assistant principal. Mr. McLean earned his specialist degree from Nova Southeastern University and both his master's and bachelor's degree from the University of Alabama. His areas of certification are in educational leadership, English, and ESOL. Cameron Robinson, principal intern at Southwestern Middle School, to the position of principal at Turry T. Small Elementary School. Mr. Robinson has served Volusia County Schools since 2004 in the capacity of teacher, teacher on assignment, and assistant principal. Mr. Robinson earned his master's degree from the University of Phoenix and his bachelor's degree from the University of South Florida. His areas of certification are in educational leadership, physical education, and exceptional student education.
The superintendent recommends the approval of the administrative appointments.
You've heard his recommendation. Do I have a motion?
Move approval of these principal appointments.
Second.
Any discussion?
Last chance to back out right now.
Okay,
Please
on
don't.
that note,
Don't back out. Don't back out.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Welcome.
At this time, if each of our new principals could come forward and share a few words, we will begin with Mr. Alejandro.
Good evening. Thank you, Chairman Johnson, distinguished board members, and Superintendent Russell for your confidence in me. It is with great honor and humility that I accept this opportunity to serve Volusia County Schools as principal of Sunrise Elementary. It is an honor, as I know and understand how important this school is for our community. It is with great humility that I assume this responsibility. After 19 years in Volusia County Schools, I truly understand that our students, teachers, and support staff are what makes the school great, and I am thankful to serve them at Sunrise. I am a graduate of a Volusia County school, and I am a son of a Volusia County school paraprofessional who raised me to serve people with humility and humanity. In my journey from a teacher in the classroom to principal intern, I have been shaped by many wonderful educators, so many so I can't possibly thank them all. I do want to thank Mr. Miller for allowing me to have the responsibilities and truly sample the life of the principalship. I want to thank Principal R.T. Myers for giving much strategic advice and helping me see the big picture. I want to thank Principal Joe Rawlings for being my guide on the side. And finally, I want to thank Chief Academic Officer Teresa Marks for believing in me and inspiring me to think beyond the box. I would be remiss if I did not thank my family, my wife Ginger, our 3 daughters, for sharing me with my school families through all the years and being understanding and accepting of the other duties as assigned. And as for the Sunrise Elementary team, rest assured that I know how lucky I am to work with such a wonderful team of caring individuals dedicated to increasing student achievement through love, encouragement, rigorous curriculum, and collaborative practices. Let's work together to develop our students to become leaders and inspire them to be great. Finally, to the parents, students, and school staff, I look forward to carrying on the great tradition of hope and promise that a new Sunrise brings. Finalmente, a los padres y estudiantes y personal de la escuela, espero llevar adelante la gran tradición de esperanza y promesa que un nuevo amanecer trae. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Madam Chair, board members, and Mr. Russell, I could not be more excited and humbled this evening. I recognize what an incredibly important role I'm taking on to embrace and preserve the DeLand pride that is so deeply woven through the community that feeds into the character of every student. I have the utmost respect for Mr. Moyer and the traditions embedded in DeLand High's identity. The importance of tradition and culture is not lost on this girl from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I have been preparing for this role my entire career. From 21 years at the high school level, honing my craft as an accomplished teacher, coach, and administrator, to my training ground at the district office, where I have come to truly understand what big picture means and to work strategically toward a vision. Most importantly, I understand and commit to embrace the power of relationships. For without the human connection, a school mission has no merit. Thank you to Susan Freeman, Gary Marks, and Mr. Russell for your vote of confidence by entrusting me with this awesome assignment. My heart is aligned with the words of the late comedian and actress Gilda Radner. She says, "I think bulldogs are the most amazing creatures. They give unconditional love. For me, they are a role model for being alive." I look forward to joining faculty, staff, students, and the entire Bulldog family. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Mr. Russell, and the Volusia County community. I am honored to appear before you this evening and truly thank you for the opportunity to join Discovery Elementary School's incredible team as their principal. I began my career with Volusia County Schools in 2005 as a paraprofessional at Timbercrest Elementary. I transitioned to Pine Ridge High School in January 2006 when an assistant principal named Mr. R.T. Myers hired me as a classroom teacher. Mr. Myers left Pine Ridge in July 2006. I remained there until now, moving from the classroom to administration, embracing each experience. I have been fortunate to work with talented principals such as Dr. Michael Mangelli, Mr. Tom Russell, Mr. John Atkinson, and because life comes full circle, my current principal, Mr. R.T. Myers. Each leader provided professional learning opportunities, guidance, and unwavering support, and for this I am truly grateful. To everyone who has contributed to my journey and encouraged me, Ms. Jen Williams, Dr. Katie Dyer, Dr. Richard Inge, Dr. Cheryl Salerno, Mr. Greg Aiken, Mr. Gary Marks, all the incredible educators I have been fortunate to work with, and especially my ever-supportive husband, Fraser. Thank you. I am very excited as I look towards my next professional adventure as the principal of Discovery Elementary. Principal Amanda Wiles has inspired the Discovery community with her dedication and strategies for student success. I'm grateful for her efforts and promise to dedicate myself to continuing the progress and growth she has initiated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman Johnson, members of the board, Superintendent Russell. I am proud to represent Volusia County Schools. Since second grade in 1986, I have been a part of the VCS family. I graduated from Pine Ridge High School and worked as a paraprofessional while at UCF. I interned, taught, and was a teacher on assignment. I have been an assistant principal, a principal intern, and now the proud principal of Pride Elementary. Like many of our students, my success is the result of the time others have spent helping me grow. To my parents, thank you for always being the wind to my back. And to my family for standing in the gap for me so I can do this work that I love. Thank you to my boys, my biggest fans. You keep me grounded and you inspire me every day. Thank you to Jen Williams for believing in me from the beginning, and R.T. Myers, Katie Dyer, John DeVito, Craig Pender, and Mr. Russell for taking the time to teach me the work when I was your teacher on assignment. Ms. Marks, thank you for the opportunity to lead. Ms. Head, thank you for teaching me to lead with grace, empower others, and that every student and family deserves all we have to give. Desiree Rybinski and Melanie Kestery, thank you for always standing with me and being a wealth of knowledge. Mr. Williams and the Westside family, thank you for putting your faith in me and your relentless pursuit of student learning. My time with you has made me a better leader. My leadership is a culmination of all the amazing opportunities that Volusia County Schools has offered me. Being part of the Pine Ridge, DeBerry Elementary, Citrus Grove, and Westside families has impacted the philosophy, character, and heart that I lead with. All of those experiences are a part of who I am as a leader, and the lesson I learned I carry with me daily. I cannot wait to bring those experiences to Pride. I'm looking forward to partnering with Chairman Johnson, the staff, teachers and families, and the students at Pride Elementary to continue the legacy of excellence that Leslie Frazee has built. She has led Pride to be a school of strong teacher leadership, tradition, focus, and community. I am passionate about teaching and learning, and I am proud to be at Pride. Go Lions!
Good evening, Madam Chair, school board members, Superintendent Russell. Leslie McLean, 405 Aletha Drive, Daytona Beach. I want to start by saying I am thankful, and more importantly, I am humble. I am thankful for the opportunity, and I am humbled by the opportunity. My career started over 25 years ago as an English teacher, and during that time, I have gained insight from many educational leaders. I worked with Dr. Chris Caldwell as he built Atlantic High School. I served with Ron Pagano as he continued Dr. Caldwell's work. I was fortunate enough to work as an AP under both Gary Marks and Susan Freeman at Deltona High School. I was mentored by Joe Rollins during my principal internship, and I have appreciated the ride with Dr. Cheryl Salerno on her journey to changing the face of education in our district forever. Indeed, I am standing on the shoulders of giants before you this evening, and I thank each and every one of them for the educator I am today. Now, I look forward to bringing the lessons learned from them to Champion Elementary. Champion may appear to be new, but it has a rich history born from Hearst Elementary that many of you remember. For school leaders have come and gone, for traditions they have created, they remain. It is those traditions from the past that help forge traditions for the future. Dr. Mary Ann Bull, Volusia County's current elementary principal of the year, has set a high standard at Champion, a standard and a challenge that I accept and assure you all I will continue. To be sure, there is no replacing Dr. Bull. My goal is simply to add to the rich tradition of excellence that she created at Champion Elementary. And to the Champion community, I am your servant. To the Champion community, I am your Papa Bear. So now I say to you, it's time to bear down and get to work to become champion. Let's go, Black Bears.
Good evening, Madam Chairman Johnson, Superintendent Russell, and school board members. I sit before you this evening with a humble heart, yet filled with excitement. I want to thank you for the faith and trust that you have placed in me to lead an amazing Volusia County school. To my wife, Janita Robinson, who's here in the crowd, thank you for always being by my side through the ups and downs of this journey. The life of an administrator has not always been easy, but you've always supported and loved me, and for that, I thank you. My journey with Volusia County Schools has been filled with phenomenal teachers and administrators who have supported and guided me on my path. A special thanks to Dennis Neal, John Atkinson, Barbara Head, and Dr. Julian Jones. There are 4 instructional leaders who have demonstrated for me what it takes to be a great principal. Mr. Gary Marks, who showed me the power of relationships and human connections. If we establish positive and trusting relationships, anything can be accomplished. Ms. Patty Core, who taught me the importance of ensuring that every decision that I make should always be what's best for my students. What we do every day is way too important not to give it our best. My mentor, Principal Ms. Carolyn Carbonell, who has taught me the importance of trusting and empowering others, as well as creating a positive climate on campus. Thank you for your guidance and wisdom. Please make sure to keep your cell phone close because I will be calling. And finally, my current principal, Ms. Jacquees Slocum. Ms. Slocum has taught me that in this job as a principal, titles are not important. We all have a job to do, and that job is doing what's best for children, regardless of what our title is. I am now and will forever be grateful for the things that I've learned from you as your principal intern. Southwestern Middle School is in great hands with you at the helm. Thank you, Ms. Slocum. I will carry these lessons with me as I begin the new leg of my journey at Terry T. Small Elementary. Terry T. Small Elementary has a wonderful school community of dedicated teachers, staff, and stakeholders who understands that it takes a village to raise a child. I look forward to building new relationships with my new Bulldog family as we lead and learn together. Big things are happening at TT Small Elementary. Go Bulldogs. Yeah.
I'm delighted to share the superintendent's recommendation of the following administrative appointments. Dr. Mary Ann Bull, principal of Champion Elementary, to the position of Coordinator, Employee Relations and Employee Services and Human Resources. Dr. Bull began her career with the district in 1985 and has served in the capacity of teacher's aide, teacher, elementary administrator's assistant, assistant principal, and principal intern. Dr. Bull earned her doctorate degree from Nova Southeastern University and both her master's and bachelor's degrees from the University of Central Florida. Dr. Bull's areas of certification are educational leadership and elementary education. Leslie Frazee, principal of Pride Elementary, to the position of Coordinator, Title I within Federal Compensatory Education. Ms. Frazee began her career with the district in 1991 and has served in the capacity of teacher, assistant principal, and principal intern. Ms. Frazee earned her master's degree from the University of Central Florida and her bachelor's degree from Slippery Rock University. Ms. Frazee's areas of certification are principal, elementary education, and primary education. Kathleen Gibbons, principal intern of Seabreeze High, to the position of coordinator, master scheduling. Ms. Gibbons began her career with the district in 1984 and has served in the capacity of teacher, teacher as administrator, and assistant principal. Ms. Gibbons earned her master's and bachelor's degrees from the University of Central Florida. Ms. Gibbons' areas of certification are educational leadership, early childhood, elementary education, and middle grades mathematics. Mitch Moyer, principal of DeLand High School, to the position of Director of Student Transportation Services. Mr. Moyer began his career with the district in 1986 and has served in the capacity of guidance counselor, administrative assistant, and assistant principal. Mr. Moyer earned his specialist degree and his master's degrees from Stetson University and his bachelor's degree from Florida State University. Mr. Moyer's areas of certification are principal and guidance. And Rose Rowland, principal of Silver Sands Middle School, to the position of area superintendent for priority and focus schools. Ms. Rowland began her career with the district in 1988 and has served in the capacity of teacher, teacher as administrator, assistant principal, and principal intern. Ms. Rowland earned her master's degree from Nova Southeastern University and her bachelor's degree from Bethune-Cookman University. Ms. Rowland's areas of certification are principal, business education, and exceptional student education.
The superintendent recommends the approval of these administrative appointments.
So moved.
Second.
That works, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Ms. Right made the motion. Ms. Cuthbert, do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
At this point, we would like to ask Ms. Rowland to come forward and share a few words.
Good evening, Chairwoman Johnson, school board members, and Superintendent Russell. 6 years ago, I sat in this very room as I was appointed principal of Silver Sands Middle School. I sit before you again today to begin a new adventure. I want to express my sincere gratitude for the faith and trust you have placed in me that I can continue to be an integral part of Team Volusia. I have worked in this district for 29 years, and I am a product of Volusia County Schools. And I have a true dedication to the students, staff, administration, the entire body of Team Volusia, and along with all stakeholders. I want to take time to thank my mom, who was a single parent raising 4 children, for instilling in me the importance and in the values of life. She always told my 3 brothers and I to always work hard, be honest, and do your best. She told us sometimes times will be bleak, but if you continue to work hard, it will pay off after a while. This is the very same message that I plan to share with all stakeholders that I encounter during this next phase of my career. Once again, thank you for the faith that I can be the leader that you're looking for as we enter the 21st century of education. Last but not least, thank you to my husband, who has been the wind beneath my wings, and to all of my family members who thinks I am Superwoman and I can do anything and I know everything. Thank you for your support. Thank you so much, and God bless.
This concludes my presentation. We'd like to congratulate all of the newly appointed administrators. And at this time, if we could have the newly appointed assistant principals, and the newly appointed area superintendent, along with the superintendent and board members, to step out onto the landing for a photo opportunity. Thank you.
We'll begin with the newly appointed assistant principals first.
Okay.
You figured out 10?
Yeah, what plugged in?
I guessed that, but I didn't know how to do it. You're supposed to be focused on the meeting.
I wouldn't worry about it. Is this monitor still on? The monitor on that side?
They all are.
Yeah, they're all on.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay. Well, you know, if it comes up.
You have a charger in your right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it wants something like this.
I know. Oh, I'll get the gavel in a second.
I saw your big smile.
Everybody was disappointed.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Is it my new lamp? No, it's great. You never know.
They got one more minute.
Nice meeting you.
Gavel. I didn't say much, but I was like so upset. I tried to be a good neighbor and not say much, but they dumped it. They dumped on us big time.
Okay. Yeah.
That's more than just and then they wouldn't let them look at it. If we could use it. I did it. I gave them a list of what we had. I worked with academy, so that's a part that got teachers. They did give us a hospital bed. Well, train these kids to work there. Trying to get order in this. Trying to get order now. Everybody's so excited. They're trying to get me supporting all Ivy High and ditching us. It's hard. Politically, it's just nuts. Hate to kill all the fun, but we do got to keep going. So 14.01 is student discipline.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this will be presented by Ms. Cindy Fisher.
Well, good evening, Chairman Johnson, board members, and Mr. Russell. Today we have one request concerning student discipline. For the request, a recommendation is made that the superintendent request the board extend the suspension on students Alpha ID 1QHRZ, 1OGHZ, 1QIOQ, and 1PVDM from school attendance through May 23rd, 2017 for the purpose of further study and evaluation.
The superintendent recommends the board extend the suspension of the aforementioned students from school attendance through May 23rd, 2017 for the purpose of further study and evaluation.
You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. 15.01, superintendent's the presentation, views from the classroom. Mr. Russell.
Yes, this presentation will be led by Mr. Gary Marks and some high-performing teachers.
Absolutely. Superintendent Russell, members of the board, Chairman Johnson, it's a pleasure to be here this evening on a very exciting evening. Each year, the schools nominate one of their first-year teachers to be reviewed by a panel of principals and district staff, and we select the top first-year elementary teacher of the year, and then the top first-year secondary teacher of the year. So first up this evening, we are going to hear from two rising superstars in Volusia County School. Then after we hear from them, we're going to hear from a certified superstar, our teacher of the year, Mr. Jason Kester. So I would like to ask to come up to begin our elementary first-year teacher of the year, Mr. Nicholas Conrad, who's a first-year teacher at George Marks Elementary School.
Good evening, Madam Chair, the board, superintendent. Thank you all for allowing me to speak tonight. I truly appreciate your time. There was a student that had a lot to handle at home. Parents whose marriage was struggling, financial trouble where he wanted to find ways to contribute and help his family that, from what he saw, was on a sinking ship. School was the last thing on his mind for a long time, longer than any student should have to worry about the stresses at home and not being able to find an outlet other than distracting others from their work and from what he saw being a bother to his teachers and at times his parents. That student was me. By the time I was in 6th grade, I had built this reputation of being that kid that teachers trembled with the mere mention of my name. But then I had Miss Schmidt at DeLand Middle School, one of the greatest educators that I thank God every day for that I had, because she showed me something that was right in front of me the entire time. She cared. She cared about me, my well-being, my thoughts, worries, and concerns that I had thought were nobody else's problem but my own. That is when I knew that I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to take on the responsibility and privilege of showing my kids that there is someone else in the world that cares about them. Academics is this huge part of going to school that we as parents, teachers, and members of the community focus on with the next generation. But there are these hidden roles that every educator takes on, and I am lucky enough to work in a profession that allows me to be there for each and every child that I interact with every day. I want to help them solve problems that they deal with, not only inside but outside of my classroom, and to reach these potentials that they thought they would never reach now and in the future. I want to be the shoulder that they cry on, and I want to be the hand that they high-five when they reach, achieve, and surpass any expectation that was laid before them. This is also why I chose Volusia County. I am a product of this great district's hard work and could not think of any better place to make a career encouraging and teaching tomorrow's leaders. I went to university in Jacksonville and worked as an intern in Duval County, which also holds a great deal of respect for me and the work that they do. But Volusia County has this special place in my heart because I was a student here. I know their worries, thoughts, concerns, wants, needs, goals, and desires. I know how to talk to them, and I love where I am at. And winning the Future's First Year Teacher Award for elementary told me that, more than anything else, that above all, I have been able to be there for my kids, just as I have always wanted to be since 6th grade in Miss Schmidt's. And I can only hope that the message that she gave me all those years ago transfers to them and stays with them for many years to come after they leave my classroom for the last time. 13 more days with my kids. Thank you for allowing me to serve in this great district that I grew up in. And thank you to all my fellow educators that inspire me to be better, and my great administrators, Dr. Roseboom, and then Miss Beagley had to go present a scholarship, so she had to leave, but it's okay, who continually push me to new heights, which is something that I admire about this profession. The constant want and need to improve on your practices and beliefs inside and outside the classroom. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we are going to hear from our secondary first-year Teacher of the Year, Mr. Shannon Salisbury from DeLand Middle School.
Let's see. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here this evening to share a little bit about my story. So coming from a family of educators, both current and retired, the field of education has always held a special place in my heart. Now that I have started my journey into the teaching profession, I have caught a glimpse of why teachers find the role they play in their students' lives so rewarding. The opportunity to positively impact the future of a child is a reward that far outweighed the challenges and uncertainty of making the choice to begin a new career. My prior work experience included capital medical equipment sales and retail management. And while both career fields offer their own unique challenges and rewards, I had a personal desire to feel that what I do makes a difference each and every day. And teaching allows me the opportunity to do just that. So in the spirit of Teacher Appreciation Week, please allow me the opportunity to say a very special thank you to 4 very special educators who I invited to share in this experience with me this evening. And if you don't mind, I'm going to ask each one of them to stand briefly so that they can be recognized. Mr. Brian Cummings, my PAR teacher this year. Miss Abby Benito, math coach at DeLand Middle School. Jeremy Brock, AP chemistry teacher at New Smyrna Beach High School. And last but definitely not least, Mr. Christopher Clark, math teacher at DeLand Middle School. My receiving secondary first-year Teacher of the Year is the culmination of all the support, coaching, and guidance that each of you has provided along the journey of my first year teaching, and I will be eternally grateful to each one of you. My first year teaching has been both rewarding and meaningful. I have learned that the greatest of lesson plans aren't successful without the engagement of my students. Math is a key component in a student's education, and while I do have a great desire for each student to be proficient in each and every concept I present, my true goal for each one of my students is to feel that their scholastic achievement in mathematics is a distant second to the hope I have for each one of their futures. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Next, we are going to hear from the current district Teacher of the Year, Mr. Jason Kester, Culinary teacher at Mainland High School. Jason.
Thank you for having me, Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Russell, Superintendent. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I love teaching, and talking about my story is something I love to do. Last year on my birthday, my wife bought me a t-shirt that said, "I became a teacher for the fame and the money." I don't wear it very often. But, you know, the truth is, when I kind of think about my story, like Mr. Salisbury, it took me a while to get to teaching. So I became a teacher when I was 31 years old. I spent about 10 years in the restaurant industry. And, you know, when I think about kind of my path when I was younger, I struggled with knowing what direction to go. And I remember when I was in high school, desperately looking for that thing. And, you know, as we kind of talk about Volusia County, and I'll probably circle back to this, one of the things I love about what we do is we support CTE, we support career and technical training, and we support getting kids in the hand-on application. And that's something that I wish that I had had. And I think every time we have an open house, every time we have people into our classroom and they see the kitchen, I get that same response. People are always like, "Why didn't I have this? Oh man, we made boxed macaroni and cheese and learned how to sew buttons on. Like, this is really cool." You know, and so when I think about that, I really appreciate working in Volusia County. One of the things that I really love about being here tonight is I wouldn't have seen all the principal appointments and all this young energy and enthusiasm for people starting out. And recently we had the first year teachers award ceremony, which we got the privilege to cater, and I got to see these gentlemen win their awards. All this new energy, one of the things that I want to see us continue to grow on is sustaining that. So, you know, when I kind of journeyed into it, I remember that there was a hole, like Mr. Salisbury said, there was a hole in me. I was a restaurant manager, and we were a pretty high-end American food restaurant. We weren't serving starving people, and the complaints that people had that I dealt with on a day-to-day basis really didn't amount to much. And I remember thinking very seriously about teaching when I was in high school. I saw a movie called Good Will Hunting. Or no, I'm sorry, not Good Will Hunting. Dead Poets Society. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Oh, Captain, My Captain. One of my favorite roles, Robin Williams. And you know, I remember feeling a lot like the young men that he helped. And you know, and in that spirit, like, I wanted to do it. And then I remember, back to the t-shirt, I remember looking at salaries for different jobs. And I remember distinctly remember thinking this in my head, "Oh man, if I do that, no woman will ever love me." And so I pursued a number of other majors like chemical engineering, and, you know, ultimately ended up in hospitality management. And so, you know, I think one thing that we can continue to do is to make sure people realize how rewarding and how much of a difference you can make as teachers, to make it something that's out there in the public and really build that up. Because there's a lot of great things about being teachers. Teachers train all other jobs. There's arguably no more important job. You know, one of the things, especially this is timely, at this point in time, one of the things I love most about being a teacher is that even though the countdown to the 13 days or whatever it is until students are gone, for me, it's not about the fact that, man, oh God, I hate my job, I can't wait till we're done. I'm ready to hit the reset button. And, you know, and I think that's something that you don't get with very many jobs, where at the end of the year, you get to fix all the mistakes. So as far as being a teacher, I'm thankful every day that I get to do what I do. And I'm thankful to live in Volusia County. It was a tough transition from Chicago. But I've learned to love it, and I've learned to love our students, and they are very much in need. So I really appreciate you all letting me say a few things about my story. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It is now time for items from the school board superintendent. Who would like to go first? Superintendent? You want Mr. Russell to go first?
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Oh, this is a first. So, and so I'm here to assign jobs. We do, I have a list of various positions that have to be filled, and I know with the Central Florida Public Schools Boards Coalition, Mr. Persis, you are our contact
With
there.
your
And
blessing,
then,
Madam Chair.
Total blessing. If I can come, I will, but I'm so grateful you did that with other things, I'm Chair.
and then with the District Advisory Council for next school year, I need a representative for the east side and the west side.
What time are their meetings?
You want me to do it
What time
again?
are the meetings, 5:30 on
You suck.
Wednesdays?
It's five, yes, it's 5:15 to 6:45. It's once a month.
Do you know what Wednesday? Which
First.
Wednesday?
It's the
It's the
first.
first Wednesday.
I'll do the west side again. I think it's down to two of us as a choice.
Can someone like to split with me? I know I can't make it in the month of October and November because I already
I'll
have
substitute
commitments.
for you.
Okay.
Okay, that works. Thank you. Dr. Hill, would you remain on the FHSAA Public Liaison Advisory Committee? Thank you. All right, School Concurrency Oversight Committee.
Oh, I've been that representative.
Okay,
Are you wanting to continue?
It's
it?
just once a year, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, Sarah Lee and I happen to work well together, so
Okay. And the Value Adjustment Board, you,
I'll still do that.
okay. Then we have the Volusia County Council of PTAs.
I can do that.
Good, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
You've been doing that.
I've been doing that, and it's very far for me to go.
It's fun.
And the final one, I have Volusia Transportation Planning Organization, VTPO.
Can you expand on that position?
That is the, it's actually now Volusia and Flagler County, but it was and continues to be primarily Volusia County. It's the planning organization for transportation. They have several committees, a bicycle pedestrian committee, technical committee, disadvantaged, I can't think of the words right now, and then the elected officials, which is the governing arm of the committee, and there's a lot of county council members and then one representative from each city. And probably around 12 years ago, they asked that the school district participate. It was after I had been chairman of the technical committee, so I was going to those meetings, and when I was done, they wanted to have a regular member of the school board.
What's the commitment, Sarah Lee Houghton?
They meet once a month, and I believe it's at 8 in the morning. I apologize, I don't know the day of the week, but they have historically met on a weekday at 8 in the morning. And their location is on 92, very close to I-95. It's right near the shopping center and the entrance to Indigo.
They still meet, it's Indigo, where they used to meet. I don't know whether they still
What's
meet.
that?
It was at Indigo. I don't know whether it still is.
Well, that professional
Yeah,
center?
yeah, right in
That's
there.
where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really can't add on another thing that's monthly, I'll be honest. So it's down to,
You don't remember the day of the week? I guess we could look it up.
I can find
We'll
it.
we'll send out to everybody the day and time.
Yeah.
And
And
then,
then
you know, we can go,
commitment.
that's the last position I have to fill.
Yeah.
So, so thank you for that. And Madam Chair, I just have a few comments. Something that I pointed out to the principals at the last principals meeting, just what a huge impact that Futures makes in our school district. If you watch what they've done in the last 6 weeks with the Caribbean party, that was fun. The Caribbean party, then we had first year teachers of the year, tomorrow's leaders. Their Take Stocks in Children is tomorrow, or Thursday night. We had the Turnaround Awards. They have such a big impact in our district. And I would like to encourage have you all join the administrators throughout Volusia County and consider a payroll deduction. It can be $2, $3, $4, $5 a paycheck, but it's money that goes right back to our teachers and our schools. And another thing, if you're on Twitter, a lot of the culminating activities for the mini grants are occurring now. And you see the work that the teachers have done with that money over the course of this year. It's just amazing. And we have so much to be proud of in Volusia County Schools. AASA, which is the National Organization for Superintendents, they brought in 14 superintendents literally from around the nation to come to Volusia County Schools. And their focus this year is early childhood education from pre-K to 2. And they wanted to see high poverty Title I schools. One of them was Pride, it has 81%. And then we had Friendship as well. And when they had discussions with our teachers and the administrators and our Title I folks, and they saw what was going on, the leader, the director from AASA turned and said to us, I don't know if you all realize the work that's going on in this district. And so that was just great. It's great to hear outsiders come in and say that to us. And then also, we're in that time of year where we are going to all sorts of programs, and we've had so many variations of chicken, and that's a good thing. But you know, there are great people, students and teachers and community members. And I was at the Crystal Apple Award today. Just seeing those teachers and the support that the community gives to our folks, it's just a wonderful thing. So we have a lot to be proud of and a lot to be thankful for.
Yes, we do.
Well said.
You want to start, Ms. Cuthbert?
Yes, it is a very busy time for all of us in the district. One thing I attended that I wanted to make sure I attended this year that I haven't done before was attend a DUI court up at Daytona Beach. It was quite inspirational. There were 6 adults who had changed their lives, and a lot of them mentioned lack of education, lack of going to school, lack of direction. So it was nice to represent the district in celebrating a change. Also, the teacher retirement dinner was fabulous, and it was kind of nice to wish people bon voyage, almost literally, in their new adventures. The Crystal Apple Award by the Southeast Volusia Chamber of Commerce was a couple of weeks ago, and I salute all Southeast Volusia new teachers, the Crystal Apple Awards. Also, the Kiwanis in New Smyrna awarded all of Southeast Volusia schools. And the two, it's all the Edgewater at New Smyrna and the two charter schools that I have. So there was 7, 8 schools represented. And it was so neat because I looked in the audience, and the majority of the people I knew, the majority of the people were former colleagues, teachers whose kids I had, or they had my children or grandchildren, former students, and it was wonderful to see everybody together because as we visit different schools, but to see everyone together and a common goal was fabulous. And they gave $15,000 away to teachers and scholarships for their programs in their own respective schools. So I salute the Kiwanis of New Smyrna Beach. We also attended the CTE Awards, the bronze, silver, and gold awards for our academies throughout our district. And I'll tell you, those facilitators work so hard, and the teachers who are in charge of all those career technical education classes. And Mr. Kester, you are quite welcome. I mean, thank you so much for all of what you do. And everyone else throughout the district who have such a high impact upon our students. I love being on the selection committee looking at architects and construction. So I was able to help. I don't know how much help I had, but they taught me more than anything, Ms. Morrissey's group, to mention, and it's nice to see, we see so many signatures on change orders and bids and steps, so actually to see the people who make those decisions. But we selected a really good general contractor for the building of Chisholm Elementary. Babe James, which is a runs a fabulous summer program, and the West Side community of New Smyrna had a fundraiser last Friday, and it was wonderful to be part of the community. All of New Smyrna came around to help fundraise. And also there were, we attended last week the PTA awards, Mr. Russell, and a lot of administration was from the district and along with Mr. Persis to see the PTA's award scholarships to award-winning schools and PTA parents. Where we would be without our futures, without our PTAs, without people who support our public schools. So great gratitude. And my last thank you is to the Volusia Manufacturing Association, who just had a very successful golf tournament last week. And I don't know how much money they raised, but their golf tournament goes strictly to scholarships for Volusia County students. In fact, the kids at Chisholm, not Chisholm, but at Edgewater Public made the markers, the T markers, for all of them because VMA gave them their first HD printer. That's awesome. So it was really cool. And I need to make a comment too about, I am very much a part of a public school system. I'm a public school advocate. As much as we welcome our charter schools into our fold, it's very important that we remain very strong to support our public schools in every way. And for those who are on the fringes of public education, it's always important to make sure we have strong leadership, because what is important is the classroom. And I think it is, I hate to use the word, but I think it's shameful for what the state legislature has done to cut public school funding. Absolutely, and I agree with Mr. Persis. I do hope the governor vetoes that bill, because the hard work, and we saw all evidence tonight of all the hard work every person puts into our public education, for them not to recognize, of all times, Teacher Appreciation Week, for them to cut funding to public education as severely as they have, it is truly shameful. So, thank you. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Mr. Persis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to thank Meredith Gilbert and Ann Green for coming here. You actually spent the whole, is this your first school board meeting? Whoa. And you stayed right through the end, too. That's like bonus points. I'll make sure to tell Kevin Flassig that. Yeah, okay. Also want to say to Melissa Carr, welcome back to the schoolhouse. That's where it's at, Melissa. It's at the schools, yeah. And to Mr. Superintendent, I noticed that was the one position you haven't filled. Is that, you want to speak to that?
Yes, we will be advertising that position.
Advertising like?
Nationwide.
Nationwide, whoa. Nationwide. You see how hard you are to replace?
Big shoes.
Nationwide. And echoing just a lot of what you said, Ms. Cuthbert, and to all the teachers out there and all the teachers still here, thank you for what you do each and every day. You are the best, and it's such a difficult job, and I know some days you go home just so tired and wondering, does anybody care? But please know, we care. We care a lot, and we just wish we could do more, and I wish we could convince a lot of other people to do more. And to all the APs and principals, they're out there just working so hard too, and it's sometimes it's just, you're just pulling your hair out, and that's why this evening, just before those 5 people became principals, I said, the last chance to back out, because it's a great job, but it's a real challenging job too. And so I just have a great deal of respect for everyone in our schools that are working each and every day, doing the best they can to help so many students and their families. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wright?
As I stated earlier, I spent Sunday through Thursday in Michigan touring their schools with advanced ed through SACS, COC, or SACS. And I tell you, all over this country, education, public education is just being dwindled down to nothing. But it was really unique because I went to a district of 2,500 students. And when they asked, well, tell me about your district, and I said, we have like 62,000 students. They said, that's bigger than the next 4 counties. I said, exactly, here it is. But they have the same unique challenges. Yeah. Unique challenges dealing with funding, legislators, but they were doing some exciting things. I actually got to tour a school that was one-to-one, or a district. One of the districts was totally one-to-one, and just seeing how they integrated technology into the classroom was phenomenal. Then again, you had those teachers that shy away from technology who was using very little. But I really did get to see some great teaching. One part I was saddened, and then another part I was excited just to see. And that was why I asked the question, are we really preparing our children for the true 21st century? Because technology is changing the world, and it's changing it rapidly. I had a wonderful experience. I went to the heart of my heart, Malin High School, the other day, to environmental science, to a phenomenal teacher. And her students conducted a project about styrofoam trays in the I try not to say cafeteria, in the dining facility. Mm-hmm. And they came up with various options, and they looked at from stainless steel plates to paper trays that were of better quality, and they had the cost out, how much it would cost the district, and why should we go this way, and at the end of the day, why, even though we may pay a little more for some of our trays, environmentally, it would pay off in the next 10 to 12 years, because styrofoam, and I want to make sure I'm quoting my students correctly, would take over 500 years before it can dissipate. Wow. And so when we look at the impact that styrofoam plates are having on society, from styrofoam plates to styrofoam cups, I think our students actually just gave me an eye-opener that we may need to look at what we're actually doing in this district to help with environmental issues that could impact us later in life. But that was a great experience. I enjoyed that, and that's it for me.
I toured Flagler, and they are recycling the trays, a company, and they're actually buying it from the schools. Okay. And they're making picture frames, jewelry, all this really neat stuff for recycling. Yeah. But I haven't.
And I didn't get through all of the presentations, so someone may have brought that up as an option, but just to look at the research that the students had actually engaged in and created their own PowerPoint presentation, it was phenomenal.
That's awesome. Cool. Dr. Hill?
Yeah. Who would have known 2 years ago that we would have had not just one superintendent in our ranks, but obviously 2 now that Mr. Tager was accepted to Flagler. So I wanted to publicly say congratulations to Jim Tager for becoming the Flagler superintendent. And of course, Mr. Russell, obviously,
Our
too.
lost their game.
Yeah, we'll do well. I had a chance to attend Mr. and Mrs. DHS, and that was a blast. I spent 2 nights of 1 week, and I got to interview all of the applicants. Ooh. And I'll say there are some impressive high school students that are juniors at Deltona High School. I mean, one girl had her entire life planned out, from going to the FBI Academy to then getting a job in Congress, and then working her way up from there to the Supreme Court. So it was unbelievable. Came home, told my wife, obviously I had missed him work when I was at Deltona, but maybe I'll go back one day. We got the medical community came together, was able to provide almost 500 free physicals at University High School. It's always fun interacting with high school students from across the county and getting their input. It's always a good time, to say the least. So I really enjoyed that. A couple things just from a taxpayer perspective. So the cities are obviously worried about the budgetary changes, and I've been listening on a few of the city meetings on the west side and talking about raising the homestead exemption for homeowners. And so how that's going to put a squeeze on their budget, and I think that will ultimately come down and affect the schools in a derogatory way, because they're going to cut parks and recreation and services they offer to the communities, which will affect the family dynamic and then transition its way over to the schools, look to us to be partners with them for things that they are no longer able to offer or not able to provide because their budgets are cut. So just looking ahead, it's probably an area we as a school board want to be in tune with when that time comes, and don't want to miss the mark with that. They'll probably pass a lot of things back to us in general. And of course, it's a lot of things out of our control that we can't control that Tallahassee does, unfortunately. And I agree with Mrs. Cuthbert in the sense of the budget. It's a shame, but at the same time, we have to be good stewards of our own dollars here in this district, and we can't lose sight of that. We can't blame everybody else for problems that we have created ourselves to some extent. And I think although we go through state audits, the audits don't tell us how we spend our dollars or what we could do better with our dollars. And so the taxpayers don't want us to keep blaming everybody else. They want us to look at our own house and realize what we're doing or what we're not doing, and how efficient we're doing things, and really how we're spending our money. So we can't lose sight of that. And if this board wants to ignore it, we're not doing our job. So, I'll ask the superintendent to make sure that he keeps us in track with what we need to do here, what we can do better, how we can be more efficient, how we can get more money to the classroom and less money at the district level. I've always said that from day one when I got here, and it will not change until the day I leave. Get money to where it needs to go. Don't waste it at the district, because there's a lot of folks who never see the light of day here that don't follow what Mrs. Wright brought up in her comments earlier today about doing this for children. They're doing it for themselves. So I really ask superintendent to look into that. Take a good ownership of that. Let the board help foster those discussions as well, so that we can be good stewards of the money that we're spending across the board. The last thing I want to say is publicly is thank all the teachers, their dedication, their commitment. I take care of a lot of them, and I'm appreciative for their ability to oversee their health care, but they have a daunting task, and it is not easy, and they get attached to their kids, and it's hard at the end of the year when they leave, and they get a whole new group the next year. But the fruits of their labor are coming up later this month. They get to watch us attend graduations and congratulate all those kids that are completing their high school diplomas and going on to something bigger and better. And so we really want to take this time to thank them for what they're doing, and to substitute teachers as well for what they do. So that's all I have.
Mr. Doran? Okay, I went with the annual retirement reception. It's just a beautiful job by university. The students do an incredible job, and it is exciting to say bon voyage. And I was kind of chuckling because right in there they were already planning to come back and volunteer, some of the retirees. So I thought that was awesome. I've been speaking at community events. I did not make it to PISA here, but I had seen it in DC when they taught on PISA. And it messed with me the most, besides the collaboration, was just 3 tests that matter in a whole student's career, instead of every stinking month or quarterly or whatever we're doing. They just have 3 that matter, and it's 3rd grade and then it's high school. And it's the pressure, these kids are focused on future at the same time, so I thought that was always good. I met Dr. Egan. He's the new CEO of Florida United Methodist Children's Home with our alternative school, and he's impressive, and they're doing just a phenomenal job out there with the ruler, with emotions. I get overwhelmed at times with social stuff because I want to focus on the educational and curriculum stuff. And Ms. Costello, before she left, challenged us to remember emotional intelligence. And I'm still talking about that. If our teachers are overwhelmed with behaviors of 1 or 2 students, they cannot teach all of the students. So I'm still looking at that, asking questions, just trying to figure it out. I went to the Science Expo this morning with the 5th graders. Really cool. These kids are awesome. And I took a couple pictures about how does Wi-Fi, what blocks Wi-Fi. Well, I was actually shocked at the answer this young man got, but it was glass. And I thought, oh, we have a lot of glass in the schools, in our cars. That's why the Wi-Fi is not working. But it was just, the kids were just like me, and they stood up straighter. They were explaining their stuff to me and their boards, and they just did a great job. I'm missing my son's middle school last band concert. So Galaxy Middle School's having fun. Honor the teacher of the year, or this appreciation week, I'm sorry, I was thinking teacher of the year, they spoke. But truly, truly, we are fortunate to have such incredible teachers in our district. I have a meeting tomorrow with View Government. I had also mentioned to Mr. Russell, and you guys may have been paying attention, but over 140 schools shut down in Puerto Rico. So in my heart, I'm thinking, get ready, get ready, get ready. They have to come somewhere. So 140 schools. So we do have a daunting task. And like Dr. Hill, there are places we could do things better, our best. And there are things that we're doing incredible. I have joked with Mr. Russell more than once and said we are the best kept secret ever. We are an incredible school district, and I'm proud to be part of it. For the transportation planning meeting, it is 9 a.m. on the 4th Wednesday of every month. If you can't commit now, I hope you can email him. I truly couldn't do this time of day. So with that being said, meeting adjourned. Oh, you're welcome.
Know that they have those leisure reading books that they can go to, not just textbooks later on. So it's just establishing that.
Hi, I'm Rachel Hazel. I'm the Executive Director of K-12 Curriculum. I work with curriculum specialists and with all of our departments that are focused specifically on student achievement and curriculum to make sure that we are implementing the best possible instruction and curriculum for our students. Our district has always been on the forefront of change and always been a leader in